standing tall now, hold the fort down. This is showtime, more than sports now. But in crunch time, we rush like fourth down.
I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing all that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now, we ready for prime time, ready for shine now, be ready to get smile. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
Yeah, we are getting ready to. Well, we're not getting ready to. We are ready to. I want to show y'all what I got on right here. You're probably like, what is he wearing? I was trying to feel like I was on vacation in Turks and Caicos, baby. Yeah, I got that when we did the Turks and Caicos thing. Some of y'all may know I was on Wheel of Fortune with my wife. We went to Turks and Caicos. It was one of the prizes we won. We took my son as well. Great vacation. Haven't done one since COVID, like a real vacation. So starting to think about that. You know what I mean? We got to start thinking about like where are we gonna go if we're gonna do the vacation thing. So I know a lot of y'all be thinking about that. Be like, yo, we really ready for this vacation? Are we some of you have done it. Let me know where you've gone too. If you've gone some places that I should be thinking about, let me know because it's that time to stop pondering. Let's get some ProQuo up there. Hold on. Let's get the ProQuo Show. I like that version right there. That's kind of it's kind of the handwritten version. My name is Pro. If you're checking out the show, usually it's Pro and Quo, but Quo is still on a little bit of rest and relaxation. It's always important to get your mind right, so you come back fully charged. You know what I mean? So for those of you taking those mental breaks or those physical breaks, that's kind of what I'm always looking to hear. Like, what are you doing to get through the stresses? Like, are you doing vacations? Are you doing traveling? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know about that. Depends where you land with that kind of thing. Or what are you doing at home for the staycations? Like, what do you do to get some? I've been walking. I walk a lot. I've been doing the walking thing. I live in a little townhouse community out here just outside of DC, and it's like we're right in the city, but we got this little slice of heaven. You know, it's got waterfalls and pool and all that kind of stuff. So it feels like you're on vacation. Thus the hat. So I do that. Got a gym at the end of the street. Do the gym thing a lot. Try to get out as much as I can. But still trying to figure it all out and make the most sense of it. So my name is Pro, short for Professor Lyrical, as you see down below. This is our ProQuo Show. It's a live stream. Really, we started this. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we started this really as a way to communicate back and forth when we're rocking with the show. Just like trying to make the album. I'm an MC, a professor, my man Quo. Shout out to Quo. Maybe he's checking this out too. Shout out Quo. We call ourselves the professor and the postman. You know what I mean? We deliver it to you, and just if let me post a couple of those comments. What up, Steven? What up, Mighty? Man, you can't be calling Pro. Man, they're calling from Boston. Yeah, we gotta put that on there. Maybe I should answer it. Maybe you let me know. Maybe I should answer it. But so we just started this really as a way to go back and forth, like keep up communications, like what we're working on, and really sharing our music and really go through the stages of the evolution of the music. Now the music is out. You can get it through Freedom Corner. The brand, Freedom Corner brand is you'll see LD probably in here a little bit later. You definitely will see my man Fly always coming through the show, checking out as well. Also with the label and via Family and Friends Entertainment. Shout out to my man Sin and Sin Crawford. He is everything you would ever want to know about publishing, royalties, artists collecting your royalties. You want to check out my man Sin. We're going to have him up here soon. He's just an absolute beast, really about helping our artists. You know, it's rare to meet people like that are on the label side. His whole deal is making sure artists become educated on the revenue streams that are theirs. And there's so many untapped revenue streams for artists, self-included too. As much as I do know about the industry, there's people that are in that narrow niche that understand if it's just a stream from, you know, whether it's from copyrights, the different incomes you can get from copyrights, or if it's from streaming revenue, or if it's from your royalties, basically from your pros, different kind of pro, your performance right organizations that collect your revenues when your songs are played, whether it's sync, what have you, the different ways to earn your revenue. So we're going to have him up here. We're going to be thrilled about that when we do that. What up, Steven? And yeah, so that's really what we started the show about. We have a lot of guests on that are a lot of times coming through that are educated. We did a big group today, not a big group, but a small little pop-up group we did via Clubhouse. Gathered a bunch of my educator and artist friends and different people who have cool stories to tell too, looking to recruit more people about that information that we hopefully all want to get. In terms of the music side, everybody knows an artist now. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody knows someone with COVID, right? It's like everybody knows. There's a lot of things now that when we're in this virtual world now that it becomes, we talk about those 7 degrees of separation. It's really a lot tighter in some ways. Even though we don't see as many people, our virtual worlds are really connecting us to people all over the world that will have taken you maybe, years to get to go see. Now with a click, we can talk to. So we're trying to collect from everybody's intelligences and put it together and get some of that back to y'all. I am going to play a joint from our album. For some of you who have not been introduced to us before, we're gonna get this started. I'm gonna actually ask some of y'all who might be checking it out right now. I'm gonna show you the music that's out there, and you can either text me, email, inbox, or you can put it right there on the chat there, the live chat feed. Tell me which one you want to hear, and we'll see what we got. So I'm gonna share screen right now. Go over to Instant Brotherhood. This is what we got right here. So we got Final Fire, which is the intro song. That's going for ads 9:15. Shout out to my man Nasty Ness on the West Coast who's helping us work that to radio. So Final Fire is one that comes with video. Freedom Corner featuring my man Fly. Stereotype. What's really dope about this track, I'm kind of leaning towards this one. My man D Rightway, who produced the track, holds down the last verse, which is real dope. Gravity, real dope. If you guys haven't heard it, very different. My man Mech holding it down on that one. My man Fly's here, so maybe he might have to be the one to answer the question. Fly, we're gonna bring you up in here too. What's good, Fly? I know you're getting yourself situated. And then we're gonna dive in it, featuring Hendo. Instant Brotherhood, the title track, feels like an intro, almost was the intro. Grandma Stories features our family. New Bap, that's just me and Quo. I Wasn't Nothing, that's shout out to M. Dot who produced that. That's Definite Flames. Chandeliers, Nico LP over in France. This is How We Do. This is just me and Quo on this one. He Prays, featuring my man Fly, who's just getting into the building. The Devil's Dancing. Yo, I actually really like this joint. I think I'm like one of the few who likes this is one of the sleeper joints on the album. It's a dark song, but I really like the wordplay and the lyricism and what we did with that and what it represents. Baggage Claim, mostly me and Quo. Quo's wife is on there helping out in the hook too. That's just crazy. Apologize, that's me and Quo, and Bye Bye over that crazy legendary beat that he played out all the instrumentation on. So those are the choices. That's what we got to run with. If y'all feeling something in particular there that you want to hear, let me know what it's going to be. Otherwise, what up, Treat? Otherwise, I'm going to leave it to me to pick. Actually, I got a couple messages in here. I haven't seen what's typed. None of them were about the songs, though. That's all good. And let me check out my over here, seeing what we got. We got that is more info. Shout out to Fee too. Just finished mixing a joint that we did, which is real cool. Shout out to Fee. Tree, we're just asking people what joint they want to hear off the album. We got to play something. I'm just feeling something early. My man Fly was just checking in. I was going to leave it to him, but we'll leave it really to anybody. Manager's choice. So if I get to pick, I know where I'm leaning. But let me see if anything else comes through. Hello. Nothing definitive. All right, that's cool. You're leaving it to me, which is good. I'm gonna go with Stereotype. Shout out to my man D Rightway producing this track. It's kind of a late summery vibe. I think it's very, very fitting right now. So we're gonna run this Stereotype. Shout out to D Rightway. Shout out to my man Quo. Let's get it.
ProQuo so fly.
I feel like we grew up together, man.
Sure indeed.
So fly.
And you know what I think we really did, though? Through this culture.
What up, Feet?
Let's talk to him, bro.
Stereotype.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check you in the sky, then I'll take that fifth. Empowerment, not a powder sniff. Entitlement, not no power trip. Co-ignore crowns on some diamond spin. Take it by the horns, we all ride with it. Haters transform in they irises. From LA to the seas to where the islands is. Saints versus demons, whose side you with? Convert you real quick, we endow that flip. Short change, turn the stacks, that's the vibe you get. The ProQuo family got the Grammy slip. The big business type rockin' novices. Kamala Thames for my girls, fast and finer things. I get the world to old earth, that's my mama's win. Your perception all wrong, you reflecting with a king. That's directions in the song, see I find it from within. Like the length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your diamond is. The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your conscience is.
Live in stereo, who's taking down the nonsense scenario? Cameo performances, enamored since Arsenio. Coming into America, yo, think it's like them video stereotypes. We got all types up in our cities, yo. See, many got them viruses. Downloading what they shouldn't on some pirating. Not only on that music, someone violencing. Well, give it in their parlors while they smile, then you'll find them in places wouldn't think it all. Looters, the school shooters, capitals at the mall. Rap ain't all y'all think it's cracked out to be. The industry feels still, many will look cracked out to me. No doubt to me, this whole game's about to be switched up on the flipping how we think about drip. Zooming out with ProQuo, calling out classic. Cause they all classics.
The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your diamond is. The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your conscience is.
Flying higher than pilots you can ignore. In the strip with vibrations that's deeper than ocean floors. Facts showing lightning when speaking it through the core. I'm excited cause I'm driving with people who see it more. That's facts. No inviting the haters forever shook. Why you sleeping on the greatest? I'm bringing it rugged raw. Nazi robber when I spit, I'm in a great place. Yeah, Mount Rushmore, you're looking at a great face. I'm straight cool when I speak, ice in the lake. I J Cruz on the beat, we run a great race. I'll never lose to the weak, my mental shape break. Yes, I'm thinking bigger, tell obesity is okay. Yes, food for thought, the perfect dinner with a whole steak. Facts to the police with agendas, this a whole case. You try to with me, it's a killing spree for 4 days.
Stereotyping live in bold face.
The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your diamond is. The length of vibration on some timelessness. 2020 vision seen in silenceness. The summer all wisdom in the rhymes we spit. Better than the money where your conscience is.
Everybody knows how much time is spent. Everybody knows. Sit around writing all these dope lyrics because a dope lyricist gets down like this. You know ProQuo got that timelessness. We do timeless shoes on the timeless tip. Everybody check in from where they are. No matter where you are, if they hear a coast up, it don't matter. Yeah, you know that they got that timelessness.
Laying you down with the rhyme that is. You know ProQuo so flyish. No violence is.
Good looks, Fee. It was you that saved me. I would have been talking there forever. I had nobody to remind me. I was just saying that. Well, let's get to the end of what I was saying, which is more important. Thanks, Tree. Appreciate it. I can hear it's got a little Kendricky vibe to it, though. Especially what I was doing with the little quasi singing kind of thing. Maybe. I heard a couple of people say that after the fact, and I was like, all right, I got you. That's good. I got no problem with that. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So shout out to all the people that are back to school officially. It is that week. If you got kids that are back to school or whatever, I started doing a live yesterday on Instagram, and I deleted it because I didn't like the quality. I had this mic on and I was walking, it was banging. And so it was really irritating. So I wanted to save people's ears. I'm going to do another one though. But the basic idea was if you got kids or I'm taking a class, you can hit me up for a short amount of time. Probably a few weeks, get y'all rolling for free, right? Got a math question, hit me up, right? You got like, you don't want to be that person who doesn't know how to answer the homework for the kids, right? Especially since a lot of the math homework is different these days. For a lot of parents who haven't been to school for a while, they're like, what's this new math or whatever? Or if you've just forgotten something, we can break it down. So we can do that for you. And by the way, I'm going to show all of y'all this cool little application. You didn't think you were going to get education stuff, but when Pro is here solo, you're going to get some education stuff. That's just what's going to happen. So I'm going to hit you with this. Now, you can use this in a lot of ways. If you're not educating, it's probably not as cool, but I'm still going to show it to you anyway. So let me go to the share screen. I'll show you the whole behind the scenes. Check this out. It's not a math thing. It's more of like an education tool, but you can use it when you're talking online with people if you want to communicate all at the same time. So check it out. Let's go to here. Let's go to stop sharing that. Go bang, bang. So it's called whiteboard.fi. Pretty crazy. So you put your name in, Pro, put your email in, lyrical@professorlyrical.com. Yeah, you hope you're impressed with the typing speed. That was pretty fast. I forgot. So hit create class, right? It's creating a room. Then you hit, if you cut and paste this, I'm going to try this out with you guys right now. So if you're on the internet, right, I'm going to ask you to pull this up. So if you can hit this. So it's whiteboard.fi, and the room code is N3BA, like NBA, N3BA4. So enter in that room code, and you can kind of write on the board, and you can kind of give me messages. So I'm going to go back to y'all and put it in the chat right here. I'm going over to the side. That is the whiteboard.fi link. I sent it through to all of our streams. So if you go to that, I can go over here in real time and type with you or draw with you or whatever, and you can do the same thing. So if I want to go to toggle my whiteboard, right? For instance, I could, we were talking about math. This is the kind of thing you do. I put 5 people on there, I do it with my class and stuff like that. But the cool part is if I scroll down, I can see who's signing up. So if somebody signs up, you'll pop in as like a student. So if you want to write me a message right now, say like, ProQuo or whatever, I'm drawing that, of course. Keep it lowercase here. I can see, you can see that, but if I hit toggle the whiteboard, it goes away. But when I do this and I scroll down, I can see what you're doing individually. If you individually were showing one and not put you on blast. Like if I said, okay, everybody, we're going to do P times the quantity 1 plus R over N to the NT, where principal equals $10,000 and the interest rate is 2.5%, and it's compounded quarterly. for 20 years, how much will your investment be worth? And so I could see the math that you're doing, you plug it in, that kind of stuff. So anyways, anybody, I'm going to stop share that. Anybody who needs any help, it's a money back guarantee because it doesn't cost you anything. If you got little ones or whatever, think of me, hit me up. And here's how you hit me up. Check this out. This is the cool part. tinyurl.com. I'm going to put that in the chat too. So tiny, you know, I'm a big fan of tinyurl.com. I got my whole world on it. tinyurl.com/do-math-with-pro. And I just put that in there. That sort of flashes the bat signal to me, lets me know you're in my waiting room. And even if I don't know you, if I got time, I'll jump in there. If I don't have time, don't feel bad because it's possible, right? But if you hit me up earlier at professorlyrical.com, also going to put that in there. You can say, hey, Pro, I heard you talking on your show that you were willing to help out with some math, right? Now, this can't be hours or anything like that. I'm just trying like 15 minutes, get you on the right track kind of thing. Let me know. Send me a time, lyrical@professorlyrical.com. We could do some stuff like that where I show you, I watch you maybe do it. You don't have to necessarily do anything. I can mostly just be showing you, or you can put your kid on if you want. You know, you can come in with your kid and be like, yo, Pro's going to teach you some math for 15 minutes. So Fly, this might help in your family. I'm not sure. You let me know, Fly, if you need some math help. I don't know if that's going to work out. What's going on, Fly?
What's up, fam?
You need some math help in that, fam?
Man, my kids are math wizards, man. I loved math when I was younger, and they turned out the same way. Even my daughters.
This is what I do when I'm teaching. So it's right here. Hello, folks. It's Professor Plord. I actually don't do that. I actually never have done that. I just saw the glasses and I said, let me put that on and see if I can transform into that. But hello. I wear them once in a while at my office to try to look professorly, but I really don't need them. But you know, it's just, they are extremely light reading glasses, I suppose. But I think I'm gonna rock them, even though you can see the reflection. I think I'm just gonna go with the Pro look today. What's good, man? How's your week going?
Man, listen, man, work's been crazy. I know you talking about your work and your profession, you know, the professor side. And so, man, it's been a crazy week. There's a lot of transitions going on at work, man. It got me preoccupied. But, you know, my wife and I actually just talking about this earlier today, man. I have a high tolerance level for pressure.
Me too.
And so, yeah, man. And so most times it's manageable, man. So it's all good, man. I'm excited, man, because I get to, you know, break away, put the cake on Friday nights. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You feel me? And so it's all working, man. I look forward to it.
Absolutely, man. I got my Turks and Caicos hat on. I don't know if you heard me, but I got.
I see you. You got your bucket hat on, man. All you missing is the gold rope chain and some Stan Smiths.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I don't have a rope chain, but if I did, it would be on right now. I've actually never had like a legit rope chain. You know, like I've definitely had the legit. I've had the, you know, the puffy Gucci link and all that stuff, and all the different cheesy herringbone chains or whatever, and the silver ropes and all that. I never did the really, because they were stupid expensive, even though I didn't know they were hollow until I was like 17. I just thought those were like solid gold ropes, you know. And then I touched one. I was like, yo, what? How is this so light? You know, and someone had to hit me too.
Can you imagine that thing was solid gold?
I know, right?
Sheesh.
Did you see this picture floating around online of some international dude? He was like, I can't remember what country it was, but he was a foreign country, and he's rocking all gold. And they're like, he's the son of like a dude's worth like $7 billion or something. And this is his son.
Oh, wow.
He's standing there. I don't know if it's real or not, but it looked pretty legit, right? But his forearms are covered in like Wonder Woman bracelets, all gold. And he's got like two bands around, like little chains at the end.
Yeah.
He's got like the hip hop kind of gold chain with the big like Rakim kind of thing, or Slick Rick. He's got like two of them on. And then he's got like earrings. The dude is like, he looks like a mummy. You know, like an old pharaoh covered in gold. Crazy picture.
No, I hadn't seen that one, man. Seen that one, man.
Talking about wasteful. No, but you know,
I agree, man. That's
I'm not opposed to a little blizzing here and there, but never had the gold rope myself or the any other rope. I think I've rocked one of the picture or two that weren't. That's what everybody does, right? All the rappers do, like Slick Rick giving his chain to everybody out there, you know, when they need it for the video shoots or whatever, and like give it back after the show kind of thing.
So I would assume that, you know, your taste is kind of more of a modest approach then.
Yeah.
You don't really like the gaudy kind of overwhelming bling.
Well, oh, bling. No, I mean I'm pretty gaudy, like by nature. But I mean, my wife gets on me too about she'll talk about like she's like I know what your Christmas looked like when you were a kid, and she's right. It's the big old green and red balls and silver and gold.
Yeah.
Like I come from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And by the way, Fee just did what I was going to do to you too. I was going to say, we are a long way from home, Fly. You know what I mean? Like
Hey.
I'm more modest because I'm a long way from home, Fly. You know what I mean? What's good with that, man? What's good with
Hey,
the
man,
long way
that's an exclusive right there, B.
Yeah, man. More Fly music, man. That's all we know. That's all we do.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to
I
Fee.
was on my way to work. Wednesday morning, Elle sent me a beat at like about 7:15. He said, "Hey, man, it's the beat," and it happened to be titled "Fly." Send me the beat 7:15, man. At 8:00, I sent it right back to him. Like,
they tagged it for you. They were like, "This is a beat."
You feel me?
Yeah.
Man, 8:00, I sent it right back to him. Like, oh man, I'm done, man. So like,
wow.
I'll be in the studio later, and that same day, I was in the studio and recorded that.
All right.
So, yeah.
So let's we gotta hear that later, but let's do this. Confessions of an MC. All right, I'm gonna start out. This is almost like truth or dare here. We're gonna try, and people, you can chime in too. Fee, you can jump on this too. Like, all right, I'm gonna start off with this question for you. I might have you beat in a bad way, so let's see. How many unfinished tracks are you currently working on that you need to get done? Like that you promised somebody that you gotta get your verse done, or you gotta finish the track, or what have you. What's your magic number right about now?
So usually when it comes to, if it's a feature or something like that, I usually just go ahead and do it right away. So like I never, ever hold on to those. But as far as just like indirect, like someone sent me a beat or stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro, I got several hundred.
Dude, I'm okay. You got me beat. I do not have several hundred, but I have it that are like semi-pressing, right? That like need to get done. I think I'm at like 17, right? Now there's scores of ones that I need to listen to pick out. So you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. But I was just thinking about how many people I'm probably like letting down. And here's the thing, like I've talked about it, like with the cameo stuff, I'm not huge on the feature thing, right? And I let a lot of those sit in my email. That's right, because I don't even know how to reply to them half the time. But I'm talking about ones that I've kind of like with people I know. Like if you had sent me a beat and you were like, "Yo, let's get this track done" or whatever, I got like 17 of them. And
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, bro. We talked about this last
between
week.
10 and 20, and I think it's closer to 20. So I'm just rolling with 17. But
no, man, I got a lot. I got a lot of just generally speaking, tracks that I started and didn't finish, or tracks that I finished but didn't record. Or
bro.
I got a lot, man. I got a lot of lyrics. I show my wife periodically, like, look, and she always asks me, like, it's so bad. She asks me regularly, "What you working on now?"
Yeah,
because I'm always working on something. Always. But it just
is your wife like is she help with the like critique, or does she like say, I like this one?
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely, man. That's my. So for example, right? She probably gonna get me for this because she's like real private, right? When it comes to conversations her and I have, right? Mm-hmm. She don't really like being in the forefront, right? But just last week, I try to be transparent, and she knows how I am about full accountability, right? And so she knows how important making sure that my music maintains a certain level of, cleanliness and, just, staying true to, being a Christian hip hop artist. And so I had been talking to her about a particular artist and about doing a feature, working with this person or whatever. And she texts me like, you must be talking about switching genres or something. I'm like, what do you mean? No way. Right. And she's like, well, I listened to that person that you supposed to be doing a song with. This person is not. And she was like, yeah, no, she keep me on my toes, bro. Like,
all right.
Cool. If I ever release a song of any kind and she hadn't heard it first, oh, it's a wrap.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's heavy involvement. So it's different for me. So my wife is a singer, and she had. I don't want to say she has the been there, done that attitude, but she's not as impressed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like if I get a song, she'll be like, when I have time to listen to it, I'll listen to it, but I can't listen to it right now because I'll come in the room and it'll like, yo, can I just stop? Can I just have, she'll be like, all right, what do you got? You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like I'm the only musician in the house kind of thing, you know? And my son is singing round the clock, you know? So if he sees her and I talking, he'll just bust right in and go, Daddy, did you hear the song? Or just something, just not even music related. He wants that you know, that attention time or whatever. He's the only child, you know, and so he's looking to get in where he fits in, and between what we both do, it's constant, you know what I mean? So it's like I got to get in where I fit in when I want that feedback. So she trusts me, but you know.
Involved. She's heavily involved, bro. She wants to be involved, like, and I never get that either from her, like, as far as her not having the interest in my music. I don't care what it is. She's like, oh yeah, let me hear. You know, what you work? She asks me regularly what I'm working on. And because, you know, to your point, you know, I also trust her musical opinion too. I know she's very involved and musically inclined as well. If I'm singing, I'm not going to even attempt to sing without asking her first, because I know she knows too.
Likewise. Well, sometimes I try not to bring it to her. You know,
because I actually enjoy singing, man. It's kind of like why I kind of been harping or focusing on the whole bow tie fly concept, because I actually enjoy singing. I'm just not really good at it. Yeah, she coaches me and she helps me a lot. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm okay. I'm actually decent. I'm actually okay. With help, I can actually be. Yeah,
I call it. I'm in that slightly below average range that I strive for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you feel me?
if I could get a notch over above average, I'd be really happy with it. But I'm very comfortable at slightly below average at singing, and but with that, you got to know what works and what doesn't. And sometimes I'll go with something. I'll be like, let me try to make that work. You know, but when I know against my better judgment. But yeah, if I take singing to my wife, she's just like, you sure you don't want me on that? You know, so it'll be like kind of, you know, she's to singing what I am to lyricism, you know, so she's just like, and I've developed, you know, like I don't want to say a softer exterior, but what's the right word when people present lyrics to me, and I'm thinking of doing a room on Clubhouse about just strictly lyricism, and because so many people bring it up when you're in the rooms, right, after you do something, right. And it'd be very niche, you know. I never know if it's niche or niche, but niche sounds so like so wrong to me. But I think like when people come to me and they talk about lyricism, like the truth is, the non-varnished truth here, the straight up, I generally think everything is terrible. And so
you worse than me, man. No,
I am. I'm ready because like with lyrics, like I just mean strip down raw. Like even if I hear a great poet, I'm a little bit not impressed. You know, like someone I know is like a master poet. Sometimes I'd be like, dude, you have to try so hard to be a poet. You know what I mean? Like can you come off the poet steez for a second? The moon and clouds have arranged themselves into perpendicular isosceles triangles that fly over the. And I'm just like, okay, that doesn't make sense. And you're just using a lot of words. Like, just get to the point of what you're trying to say, you know? And like, I know you have the diction, and I know you're doing the cute little, you know, iambic pentameter and the alliteration and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
the whole imagery and all that.
Yeah, I'm just like go for the throat. Like when I'm doing like spoken word, I just go in. I'm like, what it is. I'm not trying to take you down the backwoods and bring you back around the barn. I might do a long piece, but it's gonna be, you know, you're gonna know where I'm going with it. And it's so I just, especially when it's spoken word, I just get. But there's and MCs the same thing. It's like. With MCs, a lot of time they say like, "What could I improve on this?" And I'm thinking, "Well, let's start at the intro." Right? That's what my mind was.
At the very beginning.
If I hear an intro that's dope, I'm usually telling someone, I'm like, "Yo, love the intro." Like if we're talking like lyricism workshops and those kind of things, and I've done thousands of lyricism workshops. I mean, I used to do middle school for years. I did middle school for Cambridge, and I did hip hop ones all the time, and I loved it. But it was like, you know, a lot of the people were just that was their fun for the thing, right? And you would have some people were really, really good, even by like, you know, 13, 14, they're like beasts, you know? And so, and
Yeah.
the thing that would hold them back would be like the intro and the outro, right? The stuff in the middle was pretty cool, but it's like, all right, you got to come in hard and you got to go out hard on most of your tracks, unless you're doing something particular. Like, what's going to really, really grab your attention? So it's just tough for me a lot of times when, you know, just comparing it to my wife, how she is with singing, I'm sure she's thinking the same thing. Like, dude, that tone you came in on is wrong. You know what I mean? Like I can't even listen to your melody right now because your tone is off. And that's how I am with MCs when they'll start. If they start with like the most typical thing ever, I'm just like, oh, couldn't you? Same way I am with the post. Couldn't you have just come off I know you were MC. Can you just tell me what you're really trying to talk about first for a moment? You know what I mean? So.
All right. Well, that brings me to a question that I have for you then. And this may help, you know, aspiring lyricists or writers or rappers or whatever.
I'm an aspiring lyricist.
In a traditional 16-bar verse, would you say, I guess it's actually multiple questions. It's probably like a part A, B, C, D, whatever, right? Do you weight the verse based on, there's certain parts of this verse that has to hit a certain way? Like, for example, is the intro like very important, as opposed to maybe the middle set of 4 bars? Or
I think I think it never hurts to have a great intro. But I think that depending on the instrument, let's try something, right? Let's go to my I'm gonna go to some instrumentals here, and we'll do some of this live here. We'll do let's go share screen. And I'm just going to grab some old, what I do, by the way, with my SoundCloud, a lot of people don't know this. This is a good tip for MCs, is load up all your instrumentals on your SoundCloud and keep them private, right? And then when you log on anywhere, you're doing a show. I do a lot of, you know, college kind of stuff. I just have them there. So if I'm playing in a room that has, you know, projectors and all that kind of stuff, which a lot of them do, I can always default, you know, there's always a computer now, and it'd be like, I can always default to, you know, kind of what's there. So let me go back to this. You know what? I'm gonna hit stop share because I think that I did not share the sound. So let's, yeah, there we go. That would have been bad. Do it here. So some of the stuff that's public, that's cool. But I have instrumentals. The further you go down, they say INS. I made a few of them public recently, so I got a lot of stuff in here. But let's go to. Yeah, see all these INS ones, right? So let me do this one. This was from my solo album, Put 'Em All to Shame. This is just the instrumental. I'm going to ask you the same question. So listen to this instrumental and where it starts, where you know, in 8 more bars is where you come in. You tell me, does this call for an incredible intro, or is it something you can build up to? Right here.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I should play you the finished product after. So this one has,
I'm picking up the loop.
This one has my man Presence and Sickman, who was part of my 3-man group Invasion. I rap last on it. Presence starts out the song. He goes by Jay Scott, and then Sickman comes in the middle. And so here's the hook.
Those who pose lyrical. I could do what you do.
That's the hook.
Yeah.
Those who pose lyrical. I could do what you do. Easy, believe me. Frontin' to get me heebie-jeebies.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to say, just straight off the top, the intro is for anybody that's inspired and just really just curious about the process of it. Definitely want to put a lot of emphasis on the intro. Definitely want to put a lot of emphasis on the intro. Like,
Okay.
Especially in that perspective when you're listening to the song and the instrumental plays without certain instruments.
Yeah. The drops.
You have to fill in that void and capture the attention and kind of compensate for the lack of absence. But usually when the bass line is dropped or the percussion is out, that's inspiring for me as an artist. I'm feeling like that 4-bar set right there has to be hard.
So it's funny. That was totally random that I picked.
I can't hear you, Pro.
Oh. 1 2 1 2.
I still can't hear you. It might be me.
Yeah, maybe it's you. Can you hear me now? I hear me.
Let me jump off and jump back on real quick.
Let me ask Tree. Tree, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? All right. Okay. I thought you could hear me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So we'll get Fly back in here. So, yeah, I kind of agree with where he's going. I'm sure he'll jump in a second and follow up. Yeah, there he is right now.
All right. Yeah, I can hear you now.
No doubt. I was saying I kind of agree like that it calls for an intro that's going to grab some attention. Do you want to hear what they did on it, what we all did on this?
Yeah, definitely.
This is so it just so happens that this particular song actually is the most played song that I have on Spotify. It's almost 200,000 plays. So it's probably a good one. You can read whatever the comments are here. Jay looks like Jay has like the last 7 of them, but there's a lot of comments.
Shout out to homie Jay, man.
What do you say?
Shout out to my big homie, man.
Yeah, shout out to Quo. So anyways, let's run this and you can see how they interpreted it too. So tell me if you hear the sound. Do you hear that?
I hear that.
Okay, cool. Here we go. So this is Presence, Sick Men, and then me of Invasion.
Hey, yo. Right about now, it's an invasion thing. That's why I got my man, Presence the God, a.k.a. J. Scott. My man, Tread, the man of flow, Sick Man. And, of course, my name is Lyrical. Y'all need to be reminded. Yo. You know my pedigree, stay heavily armed, the bars readily available to spar with whoever, go hard regularly. Can tell you don't remember me, Presence to God, I flows incredibly, unapologetically harsh, the rhetoric smart, checking no regrets or regards. This time around I'm starting fresh for those who question my heart. The passion remains silent, try and fathom my pain. With all this madness on my brain, the stress I had to maintain. Ain't complain, got off my ass and got back in the game. Got in the lab with shame and came to reestablish the name. Rep my flag the same, invasion / havoc I claim. Beast mode, I'm a savage and these faggots is lame. Skinny jeans sagging, bragging how they swag is insane. Looking rather strange, sweet as lavender rain. I'm writing rhymes using dragon now. My tag is the same as Jada the Scott. And that was just in case you forgot.
Those who pose lyrical.
He came hard. Came hard.
Yes, sir.
Now, Sick Men, totally different styles than him. And they're cousins too, by the way.
I could do what you do. Easy, believe me. Frontin' to give me heebie-jeebies.
Yo, Vanguard, when I speak, I kept current. Sick dive deep, you get lost in the current. I wash up on shore like seaweed, rather unique critique. Van Dam, black sheep. Bled lyrics like a stabbed in a mic. It's Houdini, either freak, either day and night. I black out like Ray-Bans. I quicksand, untamed, ever since original Vans. Dread, wrestle rocks like Swampman. Waiting for the stepping out nights, get these Stacey Adams stomping. Transport like Yale, call the feds. Pink Friday like washing whites and reds. Dudes sold on the game, the all-white affair. Dudes out for blood like they eating steak cooked red. Truth and dare, I drop these words in pairs. Extraordinaire, the wear and tear, the career.
Those who pose lyrical.
Yeah, so he's more outlandish, and he says a lot of things that are hard to even know what he's saying sometimes, unless you're really particularly listening. You have to relax. He said wrestle rocks like Swampman.
Yes.
Alright, here's me.
Believe me, frontin' to give me
My flow's
heebie-jeebies.
preposterous, impossible. Novices wanted to copy this. Imposters posing lyrical with their marketing and posturing. What? I'm over in the genre, the Dalai Lama, Mahatma Gandhi, baby Molly's baby mama, mixed with some Salvador Dali. Literally and Da Vinci with it. Lyrics Leonardo-like, beautiful as a Halle Berry, believing with my motto life. A lot of my life has been dedicated to excellence. My regiments have been well documented as evidence. I never been one of them rappers about hating fair when spitting. Now the written's more coded than Shakespeare and Dickens. An architect directing up a Taj Mahal marvelous monument, a master of ceremonial novelist. Mighty as hard rock is the problem has never been confidence. It's modesty, too much cash money, not on the marvelous. Too many rhyming and nasty Martin topics and the prophets. So it's ironic they never be talking about Jesus, Buddha, or Muhammad.
Those who post lyrical.
I could do with what you do.
So that's that. That's how we can.
That's hey. And you know what? I may have mentioned this before. I definitely just was having this conversation with someone, may have even been my wife. It's something about East Coast rap. I guess kind of not even necessarily just a boom bap, because I still like Just Blaze. Just something about East Coast rap that makes you really want to rap.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
I'm serious, man. It brings out the best in you, man. If you can't get into an East Coast pocket, East Coast beat, and not really just feel like you just really got to really rap, you're not a really
that was definitely a really rap East Coast, definite all the way kind of
definitely.
Track. It was like my intro in there, right? I said my flow's preposterous. That's how I started out. My flow's preposterous. Now, there's nothing game shaking about that, except it's kind of a funny statement to proclaim that your flow's preposterous, right? Like, my flow's preposterous. Impossible novices wanted to copy this. Imposters posing lyrical with their marketing and posturing, but I'm more in the genre of the Dalai Lama or Mahatma Gandhi, maybe Marley's baby mama, mixed with some Salvador Dali. Literally, I'm Da Vinci with it. Lyrics Leonardo-like, beautiful as a Halle Berry, believing with my motto life. A lot of my life has been dedicated to excellence. My regiments have been well documented as evidence. I've never been one of them rappers about hating fear and spitting. Now the written's more quoted than Shakespeare and Dickens. An architect erecting up a Taj Mahal marble-esque monument, a master of ceremonial novices. Mighty as hard rockers, the problem has never been confidence, it's modesty. Too much cash money, not enough marvelous. Too many Remy and Aston Martin topics sent on the prophets, so it's ironic they never be talking about Jesus, Buddha, or Muhammad. The cash money line in there for the old school MCs is really, Cash Money and Marvelous. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but Cash Money and Marvelous had a song called The Mighty Hard Rockers, which I say can play with any song in the world at any given time. It's just incredible. One of the most underrated hip hop songs of all time. And Shane brought it in there. The Mighty Hard Rockers, who's rocking the mic? So I say, I'm talking about they're the original Cash Money, not enough cash, too much cash money and not enough Marvelous.
Not enough Marvelous.
Yeah. And so for me, it's important that there's consistency from the beginning to end. If I'm going to say my flow is preposterous, you better come with the bars and you better have a preposterous flow, And so Jay is a very straight ahead rapper, but an extremely skilled straight ahead rapper who started that presence, like even the way he came in. What I normally will do is I will play the part of whatever I need to play on the track from whatever everyone else didn't do. Like
I'm glad you mentioned. That was going to be my second question.
Cool. Check this out.
Yeah, that strategy.
Is it still playing too?
I can't hear it if it is.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was either. Yeah, no, the strategy definitely. Like I will do whatever's not being done. I don't have to be the most, standout person on the track or whatever. I'll usually do, still do well, but it's like I just wanted to make the song make sense. So check this out.
Complete, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey Scott, my man Tread, the man that flows sick, man. And of course my name is Lyrical. Y'all need to be reminded. Yo. You know my pedigree.
All right, so he started with y'all know my pedigree.
Y'all know my pedigree. From then on, it's like, let me show you.
Yeah. So Jay and I come from the same school of writing. I mean, Jay and Jay's younger than me. I would just write with him for hours at a time. We lived together. You know what I'm saying? And like he's in fact, he even sounds like me a little bit when he comes in. It's hard to hear where I stopped doing the introduction and when he started rapping. Listening back to that in retrospect, I would think people who don't know us might not know. And he does what I do. He made a declarative statement and then he went on to prove it, right? So declarative statements are very powerful ways to come in, I think. So you don't have to say the most ridiculous one-liner. You just say a declarative statement that hits right on that one the way it's supposed to. And, you know, like, yo, my bar's a problem. That can be the intro. You know, I got an intro that actually said, my bar's a problem like Happy Album in Boston Common Greenness on the 17th day of March, and now all out of lager. You know what I'm saying? It's like how are your bars a problem?
Line.
Yeah, my bars are a problem. How so? My bar's a problem like Happy Hour in Boston Common Greenness on the 17th day of March, and now all out of lager. Not a lot of rappers can have the swagger and have, you know what I mean? It's like boom, 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 and go into the whole thing. It's like, if you're going to make the declarative statement, say it. If you're going to make the declarative statement with your name, be it. Live it. You fly, be fly. You know what I'm saying? You're lyrical, be lyrical, you know? So my name is not crazy. Yeah. My name is not craziest flow in the world, or else then I would, you know, but it's lyrics are right there. It's professional, and it's so I think about that all the time. Like, what does sound professional? What does sound slightly more educated? What does sound, you know, like lyrical? You know what I mean? And or else I think that can make up for sometimes, you know, those declarative statements sometimes can make up for the fact if you're not coming with the hardest bar in the world. You know what I mean? So
this is definitely some masterclass material, man.
Hey, man, we do it.
Like, no doubt. I don't think, and I know this from speaking consistently with, you know, my engineer, my audio engineer, and I'm in a different part of the country too, where lyricism isn't as valued. You know what I mean? It's just different.
Yep.
And so, like you say, you know, different parts of different regions are known for their music for different reasons, and not necessarily say one's better than the other. It just depends on, you know, what you appreciate or value the most.
That's right.
But I know here in the South, you know, the music itself, the instrumental, is probably the most important, right? Yep. And when I go and I'm talking to Jay, I'm talking to my engineer, and we just recording, and, you know, we excited about knocking out songs at, like, you know, 30 minutes or an hour, like from beginning to end. And he was like, well, man, most time, he's like, man, but most time, man, it's like I'm doing 100 takes when, you know, guys are coming in the studio or whatever. And I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine that. Like, if I had to do more than one take, I'm like, I'm frustrated with myself because I take it so seriously. You know what I'm saying?
I will do one take and run through the whole verse, but then I'll sit down and listen to it. I can do that better, and then I'll do it again in one take. Yeah, right. No, I'll do the whole thing over most of the time. Like, occasionally I'll punch in on a track if there's just something. Yeah. If I really, really liked what was there, I'll occasionally do it. But for me, I feel like I can better carry consistently across. But there are songs that I like to overlap myself on, so I will intentionally do. Okay, I'll do 4 bars and stop, and then 4. But for the most part, like, I know everything I'm gonna say when I'm in there. But I mean, I have things memorized from 20, 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a problem for me holding stuff. But when I write stuff new, there is a difference between knowing it for like 2 months and knowing it for 2 days. You know what I mean? And always try to humble myself with that. You know, you got some co-signing right there by some people at home.
Yeah. That's how but she's that involved too, man. She be in the studio with me too, man. So yeah, I take it very, very seriously, man. But just from talking to my engineer, like I was saying, people, they'll go in there, man, not even know what they're going to say. And I get it. Sometimes I think it's just a cop-out. Like, people just really don't know how to write or really don't understand the art of having a sound and structured verse that has some fluidity to it from beginning to end, that's relatable, and it has at least some concept to it as well, where at least, like you was just talking about, how you brought in the Cash Money line from out of the hook into your verse. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, that's especially important when doing a feature, is that you round out the song, you make it complete. And then, so if something's missing, like, you want to be intentional, because it's almost like, you know, it's like taking a job, man. You want to be intentional about making sure you complete the song, especially if you're beginning a song. Your introduction to me has to be powerful. If you're kicking off a song and you're featured, but you have to absolutely kill it if you're the last person on the song.
Yeah, no doubt. This track is me and Fee. Shout out to Fee again. And man, Syntax, who produced the track, is on it with us, and Ruby singing on the track. This was a hidden track on this album right here called Infinity. And it's one we never put out. When we were putting out our other records, we had planned to put this record out, and this was supposed to come out next, the One Life song and the Renaissance. But anyways, totally different vibe, and you can hear how the intro, the cool dominant stance doesn't need to be there in this kind of vibe. So listen to this. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. That's what's sampled there. George Michael. Yeah. Oh no. Check this out. Long intro. Hook first.
If you only have one life to live, how would you live it? Reality bites, but still the gifts are given. Whatever will be, will be. Born to be the sole controllers of our own destiny. If you only have
like
one
these
life
lyrics,
to live, how would you live it? Reality bites, but still the gifts
Shout out
are
to Fee.
given.
Just heard the new
Whatever
X-Cal
will
today,
be,
people.
will be.
New X-Cal
Born to be
coming.
the sole controllers of our own destiny.
Reading the chronicles, observing astrological, combine the mythological, or it seems impossible.
How can one come from none?
Why do the moons revolve around me and myself around the sun? Sometimes it seems unmerited, the knowledge that's inherited from relatives.
Categorical imperatives.
I live my life like it's the last upon earth, and keep in mind all the time I chose myself before birth.
Lowell and behold, proverbs, parables, chronicles, revelations, embracing the spiritual.
Lyrical, the double-edged architectural legacy, sword to every century, posterity remembers me.
Reminisce, remember this, when the moon eclipse, man's word, the sword, plus the 7 elements.
Knowledge is born.
Word long.
Hold up.
Word is way beyond comprehension.
Tacit dimension.
Apprehension.
Fear of being beyond comprehension.
Tension.
Dramatical like Alfred Lord Tennyson. Bringing the drama like a natural phenomenon, like Perseus or Pegasus and rescuing Andromeda.
Excalibur.
Sliding up the bar on your parabola.
Medieval battler.
Sword in the scapula.
Castle ya.
Like a rook
To the king.
Lord and
The
feet
sole controllers
of our own
destiny.
If
you only have one life to live, how would you live it? Reality bites, but still
format.
the gifts are given. Whatever will be, will be. Born to be the sole controllers of our own destinies. If you only have one life to live, how would you live it? Reality bites, but still the gifts are given. Whatever will be, will be. We're born to be the sole controllers of our own destiny.
Ecclesiastical, celestial spheres, I notice parallels at a glance. Nothing is by chance or mathematical. I travel lateral across the world, speaking in parables. Unravel words of God, words born like it's collateral. Shadow the mic, follow dramatical link. Eclipse the paper like the moon once I flooded with ink. Think ideas that be prenatal in the cradle till premarital. Prenuptial agreement supersede the supernatural.
Life is precarious while time is fragile. Like life is precious, time is also fragmented.
With forks in the road, so I chose the less travel.
Increasing my
In
knowledge.
turn, increasing my sorrow. Always put up to tomorrow what one shouldn't do it all. So I sanctify the path for the righteous when they call.
A student before teacher put on by my man, cause it's true. Only a chosen few can overstand. All the times outstretched hands embracing. Gravity grasping, chest cavity tasting. My last breath, reassess the equation, recollect. Time only a man-made measurement. There only exists moments in sequence. So seize them, carpe diem. Toast the seeds, the ones the future to be. Born to be the sole controllers of our own destinies.
That's stress.
If you only have one life to live,
You only have one life, kid.
if you only have one life to live,
You only have one life, kid.
Guilty feet have got no rhythm. We wrote that 23 years ago.
23 years ago.
Yeah, we wrote that. We wrote that 1998. That followed up this record right here, and it was real crazy, like what happened with that. I won't go into detail on all the story on this episode, but I've mentioned a little bit about it before. But that didn't come out till my album came. That picture above there, Infinity, that didn't come out till this album came out in 2006, and so that was like a hidden track on that. And the funny part is about that is I say that rap all the time, but I say it like I just wrote it today, and in the
Right.
intro, so take that track, right? And take my intro line of there. So I said, I read the chronicles, right? So here's one where all the words are linking and it's a big concept, right? This is like spoken word poetry. Like I read the chronicles, observe the astrological, combine the mythological. Oh, it just seems impossible. How can one come from none? Why do the moons revolve around me and myself around the sun? Sometimes it seems unmerited, the knowledge that's inherited from relatives, categorical imperatives. I live my life like it's the last upon earth, and keep in mind all the time I chose myself before birth. And I link those verses together. Ecclesiastical, celestial spheres. I notice. Now think of that word, ecclesiastical, as the intro. It's not it's just the word, the power of the right word at the right time, on
Right
that
time.
track. Yeah, saying the word ecclesiastical. First of all, most people don't say ecclesiastical. It's just, they won't turn it into a verb. I should say an adjective. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like just taking a word and bending it a little bit sometimes is real powerful. So it still makes for a dope intro, but I'm really setting up the next line. Listen what the next bar is.
A rhyme pattern, man. That's gonna be real unique.
Yeah, and speaking of patterns, listen what I say. Ecclesiastical, celestial spheres, I notice parallels. At a glance, nothing is by chance, all mathematical. I travel lateral across the world, speaking in parables, unravel words of God, words born like it's collateral. Shadow the mic, follow dramatical links, eclipse the paper like the moon once I flood it with ink. Think ideas that be prenatal in the cradle to premarital, prenuptial agreements supersede the supernatural. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not on that boom bap punch you in the face kind of lyricism, but it's so it calls for a one word kind of powerful but subtle intro at the same time that you can get into your concept, so I just think the tracks will dictate that a lot of times.
Exactly feeling the track, reading the track, the vibe. I guess the end of words will be interchanged now in today's society, like the vibe that you get from the track when you hear it. It's gonna tell you, man. It's so important to listen to the music. The music will talk to you, especially if you're writing from a blank canvas. It's just you in your own mind. You listening to a beat, let the beat talk to you. Like you just got to listen to the beat. And I know when I'm going to just absolutely kill a beat is when I get something instantaneously. Like if I hear it and I automatically go to rhyming, I'm like, oh yeah.
But here's the real gem. This is what I really want to say to MCs. I was talking with LD about this today. I was saying when I rhyme a cappella, I aim to stop traffic. You know what I mean? Like I'm not up there just to be like, oh, that was nice. No, I want you to go tell a friend. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
The thing is that you can take any verse that you say when the music's not there and do the same thing that you just said. Instead of listening to the music, listen to the environment that you're in. Read the room, right? Feel the energy that's in that room and make that room become yours. Everything that's there. And that's partially a freestyle element, but it's just consciousness and awareness. And it's like, it's also picking the right rhyme to do. So if I was going to say that exact rhyme, I know the time and place when I'm going to say that rhyme. I'm not just going to willy-nilly fart that rhyme out. You know what I mean? Like that is the right rhyme at the right time. And it's a room-stopping rap if it's set in the right realm. That could be in an academic conference with a bunch of educators in the room, and it can spill into, discussion on philosophy, religion, spirituality, the purpose of life. There's a lot in that. So you got to know as an MC which rhymes you say when, and then also what is your actual philosophy in those things. Like empty bars, a lot of people rhyme to sound good. It's like, I don't rhyme to sound good. I rhyme to sound good after I've said what it is that I want to say. That's when the work happens, you know what I mean? Going back and making it tight. So like if I say, I'll play one more thing here as an example, right? The instrumental dictated this, but I've said this countless times at colleges. So the it's such a smooth intro. It's off the same album that I was playing that other stuff off. And all it is it's basically like a 4-bar loop that he did. And I just like, no, we got to do that. He's like, really? You really like this one? I was like, dude, do you like it? He's like, yeah, it's dope. But he's like, I would think you'd want something more complex. I'm like, no, we got plenty of complex. You know what I mean? Like just this one. So it's right here. This is how it should be done. Okay, so let me make sure that I'm sharing the audio again, because every time here you got to check the box on the irritating stream yard.
I think I'm starting to like the less complex.
Check this then. This is no lyrics. This is just the beat. And this is what I want to say too to MCs too. This thing is so one with my consciousness. It's because I heard it like 100 times. If I'm preparing to give birth to a verse, I'm marrying this track. Like, I go walking with it. I go to sleep with it. I walk around the house with it. I go out all week thinking about it before I even think of a rhyme. I'm just thinking about the essence of the track and what the track is trying to say. And then I try to become its voice. You know, I don't know if your process is similar, but that's what I do.
100 after me.
I love, like you said, it's mellow, but it's enticing. And I don't know if it's the guitar, but it's very enticing, man. And it really pulls out. I'm telling you what I like most about this track is that it has a versatility to it. Like, it doesn't automatically make you want to go one way or the other. You have to actually, like you said, really spend that time with it and just try to figure out, all right, well, what is this beat really trying to say?
This is what I said it had to say. So this is it. Now it's going to tell my story, and I'm picturing myself delivering it out of college too.
I keep it supremely crafted, routinely mastered. Rhyme schemes conceived in my dreams, my sleep's practice. 24/7, been dedicated to rapping and still finding time in between for multitasking. The University, Massachusetts, my masters. I earn the same time making Massachusetts some classics. Teaching mathematics in university classes and music with my students. The fusion, fantastic. But don't confuse it, to battle me, that's a fallacy. Son, I put the earth on the map in this rap galaxy. My mentality humble is what I have to be, cause even when they call me the best, there's 100 after me. A haunted athlete, dumb to be humming happily when have these crappy happy-go-lucky rappers and tragedies. For 1 second I'm hot, the crowd clap for me. The second that I'm turning my back, they gon' clap on me. So don't grab on me after I walk past at these rap shows. The answer is no, I'm not having it. It's not happening, don't know what you expect to see. But typically you'll find me perfecting vectors and matrices. Professor lyrical, my materials basically made to be poetic, yet spoken more motivationally. So any vacancy, math, music, or otherwise, I'll graph you out my digits like perpendicular number lines.
This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none. This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none. This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none. This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none.
Now who the most motivational, standing ovational, schooling how to handle a tool, vocational, mastering the manual, handle a demonstrational, able to train management, functionally operational. Now just in case you were not aware of the repertoire, meet you but a messenger, legendary Excalibur, Lord of the lyrical, sword slicing material, just mastering the elements, hip hop's imperial, mental meditation. I travel through several layers, envision me cross-legged somewhere in the Himalayas. Even though my body is probably sitting in Cambridge sipping coffee with some sloppy professors acting on snobby look, nothing will stop me from skipping through archipelago, spitting some acapellas with visual arpeggio, freestyle material coming to me in vision. So I listen, grab a pen and convert them quick into written.
This is how it should be done. This style is identical.
So it's just a little, my philosophy just set on that track, you know, as sort of the
bro, your intro on that, the way you came out the gate,
I keep it supremely crafted, routinely mastered. Rhyme schemes conceived in my dreams, my sleep's practice. 24/7, been dedicated to rapping and still finding time in between for multitasking.
Multitasking. Woo.
University,
Hey, that was hard.
Massachusetts. My master's I earned the same time making Massachusetts some classics. Teaching mathematics in university classes and music with my students. The fusion is fantastic. So don't confuse the debate of me, that's a fallacy. Son, I put the earth on the map in this rap galaxy. A mentality humble is what I have to be, because even when they call me the best, is 100 after me. A haunted athlete, done to be humming happily when happy, scrappy, happy-go-lucky rap is tragedies. 1 second I'm hot, the crowd clap for me. The second that I'm turning my back, they're gonna clap on me. So don't grab on me after I walk past at these rap shows. The answer is no, it's not happening. You know what I mean? But anyways,
that's hard. Hey,
yeah.
Whew.
Thanks, man.
Hey, man, it's something about music, man. That's my happy place, man. Just listening to the instrumentals, I could do that all day.
Yeah. What up, Epi?
Long, bro. Epi, the wise one.
Epi is the wise one.
Man, Epi was dropping
Absolutely.
jewels last week, bro.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Kai. Yeah, yo. So I mean, whenever I get to do like lyricist workshops, especially when I do them at colleges and high schools, it's like I'll try to give a few examples, right? And be like, yo, this is a subtle intro, right? Because the beats demand in the subtle intro, right? So you want your words to be subtle. You can save all the fancy stuff for later in the middle of the verses sometimes. You know what I mean? You went dark on us, but that's all good.
You see me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you just mentioned that, because we kind of started off talking about introductions, how to come into a verse, and so now speaking to this particular instrumental and how it spoke to you, you're saying like, okay, your intro is some way you can kind of reserve the grasping for somewhere near the middle.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like it.
And that track that I just played too. I mean, that was, like I was making a decision in 2013, 2014, like at that time doing a solo album. I was like, do I want to come with 3 verses? And that track actually does have a 3rd verse on it. And it's funny because that 3rd verse in that track, I came in, I was like, overall, the whole game needs an overhaul. Study my movements, establishing the protocol. Like that is another type of that's a declarative statement, right? So now you better establish the protocol with the song and everything else that you left to say. Let me actually play the last thing here. The power of which this 3rd verse comes in is subtle, but it's also powerful because of the word choice. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not fancy. It's simple, clean, and powerful.
This is how it should be done. This style is identical. This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none. This is how it should be done. This style is identical to none.
Overall, the whole game need an overhaul. Study my movements, establishing the protocol. Who more meticulous, speaking clear and articulate? The and's my ampersand, cause I'm symbolic and Prince with it. White glove like Mike, but I'm still leaving my fingerprints on Mike, so deliberate. Some would say I'm Simpsonish. If y'all don't know the story, then y'all should probably look into it. But probably win the Heisman if music had the equivalent. If I ain't one of the best, then Cam Newton is innocent. Dudes want to test, I will let them cheat and look ignorant. This is why they call me Professor, or just coincidence, cause I just have a way with the words when I play with sentences. Even though degrees that I hold the base, the numerals, lyrically the way that I rips fit for funerals, or musicals the way that I spit on stages eternally. So truthfully, a name like lyricals, no hyperbole. This is how it should be done.
That was my Rakim impression at the end. Yeah, and it flows into that kind of nicely. So yeah. Well, I think those declarative statements are important too. It doesn't all have to be the lyrical gymnastics all the time. Yeah, Epi, all right, I hear you. What's Epi saying? Epi's always got something for it. Spit like you're trying to address a woman. If you don't have her attention in 15 seconds, you won't have her at all. Yeah, bro. Yeah, okay. I see where you're coming. And other times too, like there's certain songs where you do come in subtle for a while, prolonged, because the track feels like it's
Yeah.
track can build to that, you know. And well, kind of getting to your original question, like, yeah, you can peak in the middle of a track and then you come back down a little bit, but then you better punch back out when you're going out with that, you know. I just say, like, in an MC battle, it's the same thing. Your first bar and your last bar better be insane, you know. And if they're not bar wise insane, what you're setting up has to be insane, you know.
So do you think also that there's an art to capturing the listener? Is there a point where
Well, I mean, you do that perfectly. I mean, the way that you rhyme, you're like you have a good sense of like when it's time to show out and release. You know what I mean?
I was just gonna say that, and I thought it was like, if that's somewhat intentional, I was just gonna say that, and then that's something that I have the last couple of years tried. Anyway, I had no idea that it was that obvious, but to try to be more intentional about, because I was getting ready to say that, you know, there was a time when I was much younger that I was just always trying to impress everyone with how lyrical
with every bar,
right, you know, I could be. But then as I matured, you know, as a person, and especially with my penmanship, I also started to consider, okay, those quotable lines. So sometimes I can get on the track and I can just flow and I can just spit like crazy, right? Then I started to consider, like, okay, I need those quotable lines in my raps, and so I need to have those moments in my verses where it's not super lyrical. It's something that a 8-year-old kid, especially when I got to the point where my music was, you know, not circular and it was focused on just like God, and I knew that some of my focus was going to be on, you know, the youth and something like that, something that I can see them at a game and just these 4 lines, I know they can put their hands in the sky and just repeat it over and over and over again. So I've started to try to focus on, like you said, that timing in a song where it's just more memorable than the others, but it's not necessarily the hardest bars I ever spit, but something that's quotable. Something that if the DJ cut the beat, everybody's reciting without them song playing.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, and knowing where those spots are. Well, speaking of which, let's see how well you do at it, because we're gonna play your joint here, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
If we can do that. So let's go to let's go via your Facebook page. Boom.
Matter of fact, I might think. Hold on.
Yeah. All right, let's bring that back. Let's put some sound on that. Yeah. When's that coming, man?
Hey, that's the hook. And
when's that coming? Not sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a bumper right there, though.
It is, man. Yeah. And like everybody that I know that's heard it, which is only like a couple people, and it was like, man, I played this all day today.
Yeah, you can hear that in the club, you can hear it in the car, you can hear it. We clean the house, you know what I'm saying?
Everywhere, man. That's how I felt, man. That's how I felt. It's kind of my focus with Bowtie Fly. Like I wanted to just really work on something that was like I was just saying, that was kind of like more true to how I feel about music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Making music that I enjoy.
Right.
And I like singing. I like being melodic. I just never do that in my raps, you know, because like I said, but that's how I enjoy music. Like I love like a blend between R&B and hip hop. Like to me, that's the perfect song.
Yeah. I mean,
because like you said, it has some versatility to it.
It's funny. Like I got a bunch in pre-production like that, you know, that are sort of the blend between. I love rapping on R&B-ish beats. I mean, it's probably my favorite thing to rap on in the world.
That's how I always felt. But like you said, it's just, you know, being a rapper, so to speak. But now I'm like with Bowtie Flies, man. It's like I want to make feel good music. Of course, it's always going to, you know, maintain the content of, you know, what my belief, but something that feel good, man. And that song gave me that vibe, man.
Live band too, man. Rocking out with a live band that's jazzy or even one that's funkadelic, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You right.
I've had
You
the
right
good
on.
fortune of doing a lot of that, and not as much as I'd like, but my wife and I did a show a couple summers ago, right before COVID, and we did it at a beach party. It was just crazy. We did like all kinds of we're just like hired to go do the birthday party for this very good dude, very wealthy dude too, who was able to throw the perfect birthday party for himself, right? And just fly in superstar artists at whatever they do, you know? And so my wife was the singer. I was there as the rapper. There was a couple other vocalists and just an all-star band. And hi, son. Yes, I can. My son's coming to the ProQuo Show is going to be wrapping up soon because my son needs him to put him to bed tonight. So he's got a 9:30 bedtime. So
Yeah, man, you got to handle that.
Yeah, but the band was just so amazing. It was just so fun. It didn't matter what it was. It was like 150 beats per minute on some songs. So you rap what you can do to 150 beats per minute. You know, other times it's 90. You know, and you know it's we rocking with a good band. It's like it's all good. And R&B is just so in the pocket for MCs so often.
It is, bro, and that's how I feel, man. That's exactly that's the mood I'm in right now, man. Is that R&B melodic kind of tune, and I battle it because it's hard. It's hard to not divert to when you hit them 808s hitting, and you just really just want to spit and get grimy. But man, that's that feel good music, man. And Long Way From Home is one of them. And I probably got about 8 or 9 of those tracks written in the last week or so. That kinds of feel like that one does, man. And so I don't know, man.
Well, those are gonna be dangerous when they're all together.
Yeah, man. I'm excited too, man.
Long Way From Home is a long way from done, is what you're saying, right?
long way from done, man. Long way from done.
Yes.
Exactly.
Epi, man. We gotta have Epi on as a guest, man. Epi,
I'm telling you, man. He's always on point, man.
I'm gonna have to check out because my son is right here. He's ready. So you want to yell out? Want to say? Oh, LD's in the building though. We gotta let LD. It wouldn't. What would the ProQuo Show be without someone jumping on?
No, we didn't get to see Charlie, did we?
There he is. There he is, looking all smooth. What's going on, LD?
What did you, baby? How you doing?
Did you guys hear Henry yelling hello? He was.
What's up, Henry?
Come here. Say it again, loud. Come here. Say it again.
Henry, what's up, man?
You're too far away. You got to say it. You're coming. You're right there. What are you doing? The people are waiting for you to say hello. Oh, hi. Oh, he's on a roller chair. That's what it is. He rolled his way over there in the chair. Hi.
Hey, Henry.
Everyone's saying hi to you, even though they can't. He can't hear you guys because it's.
He's on his Hot Wheels, man.
He is. He's on mommy's office chair.
For sure.
What it is, LD?
But yeah, man.
Man, I'm just cooling, man. I'm just trying to make some more connections, you know, stuff we was building on today. We had a good session today, good talk today. Me and Fly been talking, so we're gonna get with JB early next week and do something new. Fly just recorded another one the other night, man. I'm a long way from home.
We just were playing the clip. We were just getting it in there. By the way, I never get a chance to do this, so I'm doing it right here before we jump off. Freedom Corner brand, boom. It's not often I get to put that up there.
It's rare, man. It's a rare picture, man.
That's a rare picture right there. We're gonna use that one. That's gonna go on all the promo material. We're gonna have LD Freedom Corner band, boom, right there. We're gonna have that.
For sure.
Man, Charlie always around, man. You just don't never get to see him, man.
That's right. He's always there. He's always. Let's put him side by side. There he is, right there. Yes.
Hey, I love that Charlie, man. I love it.
That's Fly's thing, man. I just roll with it. He's right on that one.
Fly on point. You know what's up with me.
Yes, sir. I already know, bro. I already know.
Charlie. That dude is hard to pin down, man. But you know, LD is not hard to pin down. He's just hard to get on camera, right?
You know,
LD's always there.
This picture's gonna self-destruct in 30 seconds. This picture's gonna self-destruct.
Right. Is that what the tagline was? Yeah, is that what it was? Yeah.
Oh man, that's too funny.
That's hilarious, man.
But yeah, man, go and put Henry to bed, man.
Yeah, I gotta put Henry to bed. So you know, you guys can carry on if you want to, but although it's up to you. You let me know. You know, if you want to carry on, I'll happily jump back in 15 minutes when he's asleep. But you let me know if you guys want to roll or you guys want me to pull the plug. Tell me how it is.
Man, you know, y'all call me.
That's some pressure. Man,
It's your call, B. It's your call.
I'm gonna leave y'all there. And speaking of which, I'm gonna give you this little food for thought, little fodder here. Speaking of pulling the plug, Matrix. Anybody see the new Matrix preview?
It's trailer. It's awesome.
There's Henry telling you. He said the trailer's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna leave y'all with that. And if you haven't seen it, LD, you gotta look it up, bro. We'll play that. Actually. Yeah,
I got to.
I'll be back.
Matrix fan. All right.
Yeah. December 22nd. It's coming up.
We have a great opportunity, man, to really just find out, get a good feel from the audience as a whole, man. We was talking about finding ways to articulate your craft in a way that's relatable, right? And of course, Pro, he's like super lyrical, and so he takes a measured approach to all his songs. And so we were just trying to, I guess, from a CEO kind of always listening perspective, what do you usually listen for when listening to songs?
Listening to songs?
Yeah, what are you usually listening for? If you're listening for, all right, this makes a good single, this makes a good album, what are you usually listening for?
I'm listening for something that gives me chill bumps is the easiest answer. If I get the bumps, that means I'm feeling it, and I feel like it will resonate with others. That's the main thing that I look for. It's just a feeling. It's not anything, one particular thing or anything specific. It's just a feeling, that's it.
Yeah. One thing I have noticed too, man, that's like one of your many hidden talents is your beat selection. Now, if I recall correctly, man, you rap at one point, right?
Correct.
So does that contribute to your ability to be able to pick quality beats?
Absolutely. Yeah. I go like, what would I want to jump on? And y'all all inspire me so much that I'm almost to the point where I want to get back on Bless the Mic, honestly.
Get on the mic, B.
I'm almost to that point. I'm not there yet, but that's I guess that's another key point, something that I look for, something I would want to get on, to be a part of. Yeah, for sure.
So on the back end, you really thinking about like, hey man, I'll spit on that right there. And so you push that beat because it's something that pulled you.
Right.
Cool. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that concept. So what could you tell people?
Always from an artist standpoint first. Most of us were always, either rappers or wanted to be rappers first, or artists, performers, however you want to put it. And I was also, and I'm no different, always from that standpoint first. And I always try to look at it from an artist perspective first. And that way, when I tie in the business part of it, keeping that running theme out front, with the artist priority in mind, because I know what they're going through. And some of these deals, man, are just crazy. Like even the deals that I've been a part of were just crazy one-sided. And I just don't think that's right. Like Pro has said a million times, what kind of business, any other business, would you ever enter into some type of deal that's structured like a record deal? You would never do that.
Ever. Never.
And I would never do it. So how can I be a label owner and sit there and issue out deals like that to other people? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not what I'm with. So, and J Cal, you know what I'm saying? That's my right hand guy. Like he feels the same way. I'm not here to work nobody. I'm here just to work. I know my value. I know what I'm worth. I know what I bring to the table. If you ask me to do something and I say I'm gonna do it by 3 o'clock, at 2:59, you can check on it. It's checked off.
It's done.
And if it's not, then you knew about it way before then.
Right. The communication was there.
Yeah, communication is key with everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably better in communicating with this than other things, but it's key. Yeah, always.
Hey man, so y'all here, man. Freedom Corner brand, man. It's a home away from home. You can be a long way from home and make Freedom Corner your home and feel right at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
So how do you manage all that? How do you juggle that? I would imagine just knowing your work ethic and understanding your work ethic personally. My question would be, at what point do you say, all right, I got enough artists or I got enough work to do, being so hands-on with the process? Or do you feel like, well, if I need to add more artists, I'd be less hands-on? Like, what's the thought process behind that?
I'm actually at that point now where I don't feel like I need any more artists. We're working with you, we're working with ProQuo, and I really feel like, that's a full plate. I feel like I have enough at that point to be able to move forward and do whatever I want to do with the caliber of talent that you guys possess. But I never self-limiting, and I'm never going to limit the label. If I feel like it's something that is important or that moves me, I'm going to take it on. And how do I do it? To be honest with you, I don't know. It's a lot, bro. And I don't sleep a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of downtime, but again, because something that you want, you make sacrifices for.
Yeah.
And, I've already paid a lot more than I wanted to pay for this. So I'm in it with both feet.
10 toes down.
Absolutely.
That's interesting, man. So if you're speaking to someone, an aspiring artist who may also be an aspiring, label executive or an aspiring, label owner, what would you tell them? Keep rapping?
No, I would tell them that the most important thing to me, I think, is a made up mind.
Okay.
I think that once your mind is made up, I think that everything is laid out there before you, and the universe, a lot of people identify differently with what you want to call a higher power, God, the universe, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. I believe that it works better with a made up mind.
So you got to have determination.
Absolutely, man. I mean, once you make your mind up, I mean, we are the only species that has the option to choose which way we want to go. And so once I choose left or right, then I'm dedicated to that, and I must be in order to bring that in order for me to bring that to fruition. I have to make that choice first. So I sit back and I think, is this what I want to do? And then if I decide yes, then there's no more questions. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's with anything.
So if anybody, I can't see the comments. So if anybody is tuning in into the ProQuo Show with no pro or quo, we rest assured, rest assured that the show is in good hands, man. We all family, man. Of course, it's your boy Forever Lives Yahweh, of Freedom Corner Brand, of course, Mr. Freedom Corner Brand himself, LD, on the line, man. So we're all family. If I'm not mistaken, Pro probably be back in the next 10-15 minutes to jump in, man. He's putting little man to bed, which is a very important responsibility. I gotta do that bonding time with your kids. And my homeboy Pro, man, chilling, man, took the night off. And so yeah, and big shout out to the big homie too, man. So yeah, basically we just in a situation where we just kind of discussing, the flow of, kind of your passion, following your heart. Leading into this conversation with LD, Pro and I was actually discussing the flow of a song concept, letting the beat talk to you, letting the instrumental kind of dictate how you proceed with your intro or your outro, or how you're going to stanza your song and all that kind of stuff. And so, the next question I would have is, when you're thinking about jumping back into a song, what would stop you from doing it? Like, all right, I'm gonna wait a little long.
I don't want the attention.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I don't want it. It's not necessary. And I like to be able to move without everybody knowing what I'm doing. And I feel I'm more effective that way. So the fame was never a thing to me, ever. Even at the age of 16 when I started, and we were around heavy hitters, the people that I had in my CD player at the time. That just tells you, my age a little bit. But which I'm not ashamed of in any way. But the people that I had playing in my deck, you know, I was with them. I was collabing on records with them, you know. So I go home and I play UGK in the morning when I wake up before I go to school, and then on the weekends I was in the studio with Pimp. You know what I'm saying? I was in the studio with Bond. I was in the studio with Short. This is every weekend. So I was always focused on just getting the money. And of course, at that age, you know, I wanted the female attention, of course.
Of course.
But again, the first priority was always, let's get paid. You know, that's my thing. And I'm here to make sure that the artists get paid. I want the artists to be educated and understand how they get paid, how this works, what they have to do, and to understand that it is a job. It is not, it looks like glitz and glamour, but it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's a job. It's rigorous every day. It's having conversations that you don't want to necessarily have. Not that you don't want to have them, but you just don't feel like it at the time when the call comes through. But, you know, you got to pick it up.
Yeah, man, no, there's nothing fun about it at all, man. There is absolutely nothing fun about the hard line process of getting through a day in life of being an independent artist, you know, so to speak. It is a lot of hard work, man. Of course, for me, I thoroughly enjoy the musical aspect. I could probably write 2 songs a day if I just had the time. That's why I found my solace and my peace in doing so. Now I know Pro would definitely agree with that. Like, but that's not all it is too, man. There's a lot more to it than just being an artist, man, in today's society. And it's always interesting talking to people who. That's why I respect L so much as a CEO, is because there's a lot of CEOs or music executives or just music people out there who understand the business, but they don't understand that it's a lot of work being an artist too. And so, and just single-handedly say to an artist, oh, you don't do enough business, it's like, man, like, you just do one part. You don't understand the other side of it too. And so, but L always has had a full grasp of being on both sides and really, you know, really just, I guess in some way compromising and really being understanding of trying to find that perfect marriage with the two, man. And that's what's special about being with Freedom Corner, is that the marriage, you know what I'm saying? Really understanding the aspects, filling in the voice and all that kind of stuff. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference, man, when it's relatable and you can relate to your artist. And I've been through a lot out here, man. And I know me and you can talk, you know, we talk all the time, you know, behind the scenes, and we have a lot of ties that we don't know that we don't even necessarily know that we have from the past a lot, you know, and it runs deep. But I ask artists all the time, I'm like, would you let somebody else count your money? You gonna let somebody else, you know, count your paycheck? Would you really do that in real life? No, you would never do that. You're gonna count your money, make sure it's all there. So that's what you need to do here too. Yeah. You know, you got to know where to look though, because they don't know most of them don't know where to look to even start to count anything. So that's where I'm at, man. The education is the key, man. I mean, knowledge is power. The more you know.
Knowledge is power.
I was enjoying you guys, man. I got to listen a little bit. Well, it didn't take long to put him to bed. Literally, he just needs that voice, and boom, he's asleep. You know, it's past his bedtime. But yeah, man, I agree. I mean, the thing with the music industry is like we all don't know because it changes so often. You know, and it's always in a state of flux, and some new opportunity comes around, and it's much like investing in stocks. It's like you don't know sometimes until after it's happened. If you get in too late, then it's not worth anything. You know what I mean? And a lot of these opportunities that are out there like that too. Flies, you are the loudest typer in the world, man. You're like, oh, what's going? You're popping in my ear, man.
I actually,
you gotta write her back later.
I actually clenched the water bottle, and so it was not a keyboard.
Is that what it was? I was like, man,
yeah,
it's like gorilla typing. It was like. Yeah, I was like,
without showing too much label, you know what I'm saying? Because we unless they pay us
they're
sponsorship,
not a sponsor. They're not official. Yeah.
Freedom Corner
You
brand
know who's
water.
the official, unofficial sponsors? We are, baby, right
Yeah,
there. Man. We are. Yeah.
The ProQuo Show.
Absolutely. I was monitoring the look. No, but we've been, just to anybody listening about this too, or anybody checking it later, is that we've been talking about that. Like actually bringing sort of this on the road, right? Bringing the ProQuo Show live on the road, and being intentional with who we have as guests. And we're talking to Sin today about the same thing. We've spoken many times about it in the back channels as well. Back and forth about like how we could see bringing sort of information to people that are valuable, as opposed to just going there and talk. Normally what happens, a lot of these shows, a lot of college shows, is they have sort of an agenda that I'm usually going and sort of speaking on. And like, let's say it'll be like a STEM talk, and they'll say, you can speak on STEM, but these are like the areas that we're looking for, right? And if you don't hit the areas they're looking for, you might not get that job, so to speak. What I would really like to do is do more of very much like, this is what we're coming to talk about, and that's it, and I'd like to go, and we're going to talk about publishing. We're going to talk about copyright. We're going to talk about sync. We're going to talk about being an artist that someone would want to book back, right? Clean versus non-clean lyrics, right? Like, but demonstrate it. Just like good teaching, just talk about it, do it, right? Let other people be involved in the process. I think it would be real dope, hear an artist and actually be able to, in a nice way, critique them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think that of course I'm a better visual learner. It may take me a long time to figure out something if you tell me what to do, tell me how to do it. But if you show me, and if you show me all the moving parts, I'm an optimizer. So what I'm going to do is, once I get the handle on everything that I'm doing, I'm going to trim the fat. And if you leave and come back, I will have a system in place that runs way more efficiently than probably what you introduced me to. And that's just what I do naturally. I do it in everything that I do. Once I grasp something fully, then I'm able to get it and streamline the process. And I think that's maybe one of my biggest talents.
There's a lot of value there. Yeah. That's actually what makes great educators. It's, I'm always tempted to write something, but I won't, up on my whiteboard.fi. You might've missed it. I have a little, a thing here. I'll show you. I'm not going to really do it, but I'll show you the screen. This is, I was writing on here like some equations or whatever, and you can kind of write yours if you chime in, if you have the little code, you can do it kind of live. So if you went to whiteboard.fi and you typed in room code N3BA4, or I give you the link, you could just be writing on your own board down there. So like if I'm teaching a class, I might be writing up here, and then I can scroll down and see what the students are writing, and I don't have to share the screen. I say that only because like good teachers, what they'll end up doing is they will be able to take the simplest part of something complex and communicate it effectively with mastery, right? So that students have a chance to really get it. Like, trim the fat away. If I was gonna put in a math problem right there, it was a calculus problem, it could look really long and complex. But you can teach really the shortcut method ridiculously fast, as long as you've connected the ideas. But you have to understand what the ideas are to simplify. The reason a lot of people can't simplify is the key that you said, LD, which was once you understand it, right?
Fully.
A lot of times people do this whole sophistry thing, the art of BS, where they don't fully understand it and they're trying to teach it, or you see that all the time in social media. Someone will get in a room and they want to put their 2 cents in, and it's just, they don't fully understand the concept that's being discussed. So they're just regurgitating something that they really don't know, and then and everybody's like, what are you talking about? And then everyone's talking over each other, and it's a mess, but good educators streamline that. So
and people can see right through that. If it's not authentic, the first time somebody asks you a question that you weren't ready for, it's over. So if you don't know what you're talking about, I'm a firm believer. If you don't know what you're talking about, you just need to be quiet, honestly.
Yeah, and just say it. There's nothing wrong with saying it. I do it all the time.
Nothing wrong with not knowing.
All the time. Like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it when I first started teaching, though. I'll tell you that, because like I was scared of that. Like that was the thing that because you're already going in with this imposter syndrome, right? They're like, oh, I'm going to be that dumb teacher that doesn't know how to do it. Whatever our profession, it doesn't have to be teacher. I'm just using that one as mine. And you're expected to be an expert, right? And like, I would never say I didn't know when I first started teaching. I'd be like, well, it's kind of like this, and I'd give some kind of vague answer, and then I'd go home and look it up. You know what I'm saying? I go home and look it up. I come back to, oh, remember when I was talking yesterday? You know what I mean? But now it's just like I cut through all that. I'm just like, I don't really know. Maybe y'all could look it up and come back and tell me, and figure it out. And for some reason, we have like a tough time with that because we usually feel like we are not supposed to be where we are. Like it's someone's watching.
That's societal pressure, man. That's societal pressure, man. It makes you feel like you got to be perfect in everything.
We do. And
pride.
And as men, just as men, also like the ego is always there, and we don't want to, somebody's asking this question. We don't want to say I don't know, because it seems like, oh, you're not prepared, but that's not true. Really, the best answer to a question is I don't know, because that pulls the question asker back. And it also takes the pressure off of you. And then what can happen is something beautiful is you and that person can actually figure it out together. And that's progress.
Yeah. The collaboration, man. The idea.
Yes, sir.
No, I love that. I love that concept.
We were having a little discussion on the Matrix, like I was talking about before I left. I don't know if y'all mentioned anything about that, but so I was in someone on my page. If you actually look on my page, someone jumped on my page. I was like, yo, the Matrix is coming out. And then all of a sudden they jumped into conspiracy theory. They were like, oh, the reason Lawrence Fishburne doesn't appear to be in this movie is because of his real topic, his real thoughts on the movie. They weren't cool with because, there's a bigger plan or whatever behind the scenes kind of thing was what he was alluding to. I was like, bro, slow down. There's no, like, what are you talking about? And it was like, so the deal is Lawrence Fishburne's doesn't look like he's in the movie.
They don't show him in the trailer.
No, there's a younger version of him for some reason, right? Where Neo is looks like he's like 50, right? And first of all, Neo never looks like he's 50. He's probably 57 and he looks like he's 37, right? But that's a whole nother issue. But so him and Trinity is in the scene and they meet each other, right? Did you see the trailer, LD?
I have not seen the trailer, but I'm a huge Matrix. I don't like to use the word fan, but I'm a huge Matrix series follower. Like it's a big deal to me.
It's a big deal with me, bro.
I'll tell you why, man. I had a friend at the age of 17. I had a friend that was 27 years old. May it rest in heaven. His name is Carlos Reed. Creed is what we called him. And when the Matrix first came out, he came to get me. He's like, you got to come over here. I got to show you something. And he shows me this movie, The Matrix. And I thought it was cool at 17 or whatever. I thought the graphics were cool and all of the animation and camera tricks and all that. But I didn't really get it. My consciousness was opening up and I got the concept halfway, but I didn't get it fully.
Like, this could be real. Like, this thing could be the real deal. Like, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So what happened is I was watching it, and after it was over, he was like, "You got to understand, this is real. This is a real thing. It really is like this, and you got to get it." He's like, "You're friends with me right now. I'm 10 years older than you, so imagine where you're gonna be when you get to where I'm at." And man, I bring him up, and it brings me pain to think about it because he got killed. He got killed a few years later. But I watched that movie because of that. Like when people introduce me to things and then they fall back or they're not in my life anymore, I always make sure I revisit whatever it is they gave to me, whatever gift it was they gave to me. If they connected me with somebody else, I make sure I follow up on that because I feel like it's a reason for that. And then them not being there anymore. So I watched that movie for 10 years before I really grasped what was actually going on, what the concept really was. And then once I got it, I understood full on. The next two came out and I was all up in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah. Nah, the movie that's crazy, man. I mean,
I'm going back and watch. I'm watching the first one before I watch this.
Oh, yeah, bro.
I got to go back and watch them all.
I've seen that movie maybe more than I've seen any other movie. But Star Wars is up there for me, but like I've seen The Matrix Part 1, man, umpteen times. But and I'm not naturally a person who watches movies multiple times. that probably stopped with me.
I am definitely not a person that watches a movie multiple times.
My son to sit there and watch that movie. You know, when you're little, you do. You know, my son watched the same movie like 50 times in a row. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He watches the new Spider. You might know kids, but he watches the new Spider-Man on Disney where they're all Miles Morales is the little one, and then Peter Parker is the regular one, and then there's the girl Spidey, or it's the ghost Spidey. This is brand new, and so he's watched like episode 1, 2, and 3. Like, I mean, I come in the house, what are you watching, Spidey, Daddy? And like, oh, which episode? 3? I'm like, okay, we've seen that 74 times, and it's been out for 3 weeks.
So let me ask you this question, in the spirit of that. Do you think it's a cerebral concept? Because like when I watch movies, I don't ever feel like I got to the end of the movie and missed something. But you have people who intentionally go back and watch movies over and over again because they feel like, well, there's something that I'm going to see the second time that I didn't catch the first time. Yeah. But I don't ever feel like that.
I don't feel like that either. Like I generally watch a movie, and I'm a pain to watch a movie with too, because I'm predicting what's going to happen all the time. And so like my wife can't stand watching movies with me because I'm like, it's so obvious like where they're going with a lot of it, you know. So, but you have to disconnect yourself from that, you know, and just kind of enjoy a movie sometimes. But I have trouble doing that. So there are certain movies that they don't lend themselves to trying to figure out what happens, but so much sci-fi does, you know. And I love movies when I don't know what's coming. Like I had no idea what was going to happen in The Matrix, right? When I was watching The Matrix, I was like, oh, I was so in it. I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like this is the greatest thing ever, you know? And I got into this debate too, Fly, with someone yesterday. I was like, you know what? It's like pizza. I was like, I generally like pizza. And I'm also very easygoing. Like, I generally feel there's no bad pizza, right? Like, you know, people like, oh, I just like this pizza. I'm not particular. Right. Like, pizza's just dope. You know what I'm saying? And, like, you have to try hard to screw up your pizza. And it's kind of like that for The Matrix, too. It's like, people like, oh, Matrix 3 was so whack. You know what? It was pretty much better than anything I could have possibly fathomed the first 20 years of my life. And so, like, if The Matrix 3 just came out today, it was the first thing I saw, I'd be like, this is the greatest movie ever. You know, so I get it. It's not the same as the first one, trust me. But I'm damn happy that it did come out. And it's the same with all the Star Wars movies. I'm like, are you kidding me? We're so spoiled. It's like, these movies are like superior technology filming them, and even though this movie's half of the budget that they spent on the last Matrix, I'm sure that the tech is going to be just as dope, if not better, you know?
Sure.
What could they possibly do? Because the Matrix literally set the tone for like the next half a generation of action movies with the whole Matrix.
I know.
ID technology.
Notice they don't show you. They don't show you if he's dodging bullets. They show 1 second where it looks like he's stopping the bullets, but they don't do any of the dodging, which is, I mean, they literally, like you said, that ushered in a whole new wave of tech, you know, and the wave of special effects. But I mean, so much, man. I mean, I saw when he threw. Did you see when he threw the missile into the plane? He just went like that, and I was like, "What?" Even though it was just kind of crazy, but they just managed to give you like a little 3-minute trailer that's like everything you want to see, but not the things that are going to make you. I mean, they had to show something dope, and when he walks through the wall and it's like water, that was so crazy, you know. But
let me ask this. So I got turned on. I was late on Star Wars, right? I have a lot of friends that are Star Wars heads, but I didn't actually. Somebody told me I had to sit down and watch all of them probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. So I did. I sat down and I watched all of them, and I was obviously, I was blown away by the whole thing. The whole concept just kind of blew me away. And I'm like, this is somebody's interpretation of what life is really like on a daily basis. You have all different walks. You have all these different people, all these different dialects. Everybody looks different. These people are from here and they talk like this. These people are from over there and they talk like this. But they all have to interact with each other, and they all have to figure it out together. Which goes back to what I was just saying, to make the thing work. And I just thought that was so brilliant, man. I realize now why people go so crazy and why it's worth so much money now. But I didn't realize it was just mind blowing.
Yeah, it's dope. I mean, that whole undercurrent.
I didn't watch Star Wars.
Oh, you got to do it. But it's like
watch Star Wars.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm older than both of y'all, so the thing is like for me, Star Wars is like,
Yeah,
I mean, my
that's
bed
the
sheets
era.
were Star Wars when I
Yeah,
was my son's
era.
age. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like, it hits people like, between 38 and maybe like 58 is like probably the real core. You know what I'm saying? And but
Yeah.
even my dad, who's 73, is a Star Wars fan because he's taking me to see it when I was like my son's age. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and you think about my dad had me young. You know what I'm saying? So it's like young men seeing that movie in their 20s, right? Who are in their 70s now or late 60s or whatever. Just like it's grabbed so many generations through that's what's so brilliant about it. Because like you say, it shows I mean, you're chilling with 5 different kinds of aliens, right? I mean, different dialects, and it's so cool because so many people understand so many different dialects, but they don't understand certain ones. It'll be like Luke is speaking droid, like Han Solo speaking Wookiee, and it's like, like how do you know Wookiee flawlessly, right? But it's funny because you've never heard him say a Wookiee word, but he hears it perfectly. It's
Yeah,
I think that was for me. That was Harry Potter. Like that was my when Harry Potter came out. I was probably the age you were when Star Wars. I don't think I was even born when Star Wars series started.
No, you weren't. Yeah, and so the thing is that that Harry Potter has a lot of that because it's its own world, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So I'm a fan of. I'm a nerd. I watch every sci-fi movie that there is. And if it's sci-fi, it's adventure. If it's fantasy, but I've pretty much seen it, and few exceptions. But I get into that, like what LD said about that undercurrent, the whole social caste system or whatever. I watch a lot of cheesy movies that are like that too, and it still always fascinates me. A lot of these dystopian ones too, like their predictions of what's going to be like, always grab me. But the Matrix thing, I think, was so compelling about the Matrix on a deeper level is, of course, I mean, Trinity. Her name's Trinity, and Neo pretty much is the Christ figure, of the movie. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And but there's so many other world religions that are filtered into that movie. There's so much, you can see the Hindu and Buddhist elements.
It's a lot, man.
It's a lot,
and
which makes it so compelling. You know what I mean? It's like
heavy, right?
Yeah,
and that's because that's what it should be.
That's right.
That's what things should be. It should be a compilation of everything because we all really believe the same thing.
Yeah,
it's a different take on it, but it's the same. In essence, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I would say no matter what your faith is, the commonality of most faiths is the do unto others. That's pretty much across the board, without getting specific in terms of like belief system. Actually, outside of the deity itself, right? It's pretty much like your deity has said, don't be an ass to each other. Right. Respect the people that gave you life. Don't steal from people. Like, don't, bearing false witness. Pretty much every religion is generally saying that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely the top world religion.
Right, the big ones, yeah.
Some of the
Abrahamic religions obviously do that. Yeah.
Obviously do that. Even the offspring of the Abrahamic religion, which is like the original Islamic, like it's become radical and it's become confused a lot by the Muslims because they become radical, and there's a sect of Muslims and Islamic that's real radical, like terrorists and stuff like that.
Like the Klan is Christianity.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And so, but like in its origin, it was kind of just like you said, built on those same principles, man. Believing in higher power, like you said, respecting family and your neighbors and things like that. And just depends on who you listen to tell the story. It can make one religion look worse than the others. I believe they have a lot in common, a lot in similar, a lot of principles. They use words interchangeably. Like you said, Hinduism or Buddhism may use the word meditation, where Christianity will use the word prayer.
Right. Yeah.
And so the concepts are very similar. And that's why, even though I believe wholeheartedly in what separates Christianity from a lot of other religions is the belief of Christ. But when conversing with someone about religion, man, it's very important that you listen to them, like no matter what they believe. You'd be surprised how much you already have in common. Absolutely. And a lot of religions get bad name because you got bad ambassadors that's fighting people when you already have a lot of core similarities in your belief, and you just need some cosmetic stuff, and we tearing down people, and it's making people turn their nose up at, especially in Christianity. It's making people turn their nose up at Christianity because we got kind of bougie and we're a little aggressive about you need to believe it or see it the way I see it when you don't understand that they already believe a lot of what you believe.
Right.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
What I see-
Christ versus the Bible kind of stuff, like Christ versus the Old Testament, pitting Christianity against itself a lot. And it's easy. It's very, very, very easy if you are a critical thinker and you rely on science, math, and logic, which is the field I'm in. So many of my colleagues are atheists, and where I'm not. But the thing that separates me is that the general understanding of like, okay, where I normally need proof, I don't rely on faith in science and math. To it mostly, right? 99% of what we're doing is not faith-based, right? It's like my faith is it's going to work out because I know the procedure, right? And so abandoning that for math and science people is always really scary. I think what always causes the big trouble where you lose a lot of the math and science people that will jump into the strict atheism kind of beliefs is that if they don't have an evidence that's in their face, they don't want you to provide it, right? And they don't want you to cite something else, which i.e. might be the Bible. And then you get into the Bible versus Christ. Like you'll get a lot of science and mathematicians who go, yeah, I'm cool with Christ. I'm just not cool with your whole Bible where you believe that this is the inspired divine word, like, you know, that somehow this Bible made it through when there was no printing press. And we know how people screw up messages. Hey, Bob.
All the time.
Ginny has on a red dress and she wore yellow shoes yesterday because her mom told her to put it on at the party.
A whole different message.
Yeah, and it's like, so for me to believe, right, that, and I, this is where I share the opinion of atheists, right, is because this thing is what I definitely believe too, is that there's no human way in a logical world, in a secular world, in a world that doesn't have a divinity, that you're going to tell me that a bunch of humans got this story right just because they were quote unquote divinely inspired. That sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, right? A lot of like, don't you think if people were lying to you, this would be where they're lying to you? Like, hey, you have to believe that everything that's in that book is actually real. And like, really? Do I really have to believe that? And when we really study what became canon and we know that process, and when you really dig for like what became canon, it's like, am I really supposed to believe too that, especially with Catholicism, which is the one that you can really, you know, point a lot of daggers at, like, we know what was happening when they were picking and choosing what was going to make it in, right? like, when we start talking about all the Coptic stuff, I mean, it just can go and what's canon and what's not. And then you're telling a bunch of scientists that, well, you just have to take on faith that this is what was supposed to be there. And it's like, you're going to lose the scientists with that line of talk.
When you think about it from an apologetics point, though, from what you were saying, is that if we really be honest, like at the core of everything, we all really believe in something that was invented. And like we all rely, even in mathematics, it's still relying on a system that, you know, man created, you know, so to speak.
You have to rely on something axiomatic, something that says, I believe at some point that 1 + 1 is 2.
Exactly.
It's been demonstrated for me enough that I'm going to call this my foundation and bedrock. Now we can stack on top.
And so, and that's faith.
And that's why I say it's like 99%, because it's like the 1% for the mathematician, faith, they don't talk about too often. Like at some point you axiomatically had to accept that this was the reality, that you believe that a square has 4 sides and it's 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees.
It's a faith. It's a faith to get to that point.
But their job is to erase faith out all the time. And when I say they, it's we try to make it so you don't need a faith to like faith should not be involved in 1 + 1 = 2. But at some point you do have to agree with some definitions, and that's where the gray matter comes in, you know. But we try to jump past that and say, okay, it's like the Fibonacci sequence. It starts out with 1 and 1, and then it goes 2, and then 3, then 5, then 8, then 13. That's the previous 2 numbers add up to the next one, right? But at some point, you had to make sure that you started with 1, because it wouldn't work if you started with 0. For you know what I mean? Like it's like, well, what came before 0? You know, it's like you have to pick something that makes the starting progression okay, and that you can use induction from the rest on. If your starting point is agreed upon and you're like, okay, this is the rule for this game, you know. So but we don't like to look back at like why we picked that, or you know, like,
all of that to me like just makes confirmation for me in deity, right? Because at some point we all rely on how we feel and our ability to agree on a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, if we all honest, whether it's science, religion, or math, we all at some point took faith and said, you know what, all right, this is the foundation that I'm going to believe in, and I'm going to build on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We had to believe that matter is matter. We had to believe that atoms and atoms, that we called atoms,
which we
atoms.
currently don't, by the way, right now.
You know what I'm saying?
Physics,
It's what I'm saying. Yeah. So much, and we, even in saying that, just like making sure we're being intentional too, that we're not trying to deliberately undermine one another, because at the end of the day, we kind of still all like build our foundation on faith. Like really, we just take it one word, just the belief of something. That maybe this is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And to me, it really just further solidifies that there has to be a deity like that confirms all of this.
It's definitely a majorly intriguing area of why a lot of people become scientists in the first place.
Yeah.
It's because it's such an intriguing concept, and it's what the Matrix hits on. It's like, okay, is it possible that God could be a computer, right? And that somebody then you get into, and this is what I do always have a lot of issue with too when we get into these talks. It's like, okay, if we want to go with God's a computer, then God had to have a programmer, aka the architect, right? So the architect, but in the Matrix, it's kind of like the architect is the computer, right? So you get that same problem whether you're with science or whether you're with religion in terms of like what begat everything, right? And so it's more difficult to argue that there was just a supernatural creator and nothing before that, because you always get to, well, how did the supernatural creator come to be? You can't just become a supernatural creator. Like, you can't just wish that you become ill, but that is actually what you have to accept. You have to at some point, and it's just as crazy as saying, well, something came from nothing. But physics will have you trying to believe that something in fact can come from nothing. I have a problem with that. Personally, I say it in my rap. How can one come from none, right? You just heard me say that a little while ago.
But it's, you know what's crazy?
Where do you get one from zero in space? And people say, oh, atoms pop into existence and quarks and bosons and stuff. Really? Was it really nothing there? Did you really investigate the vacuum and show there was truly nothing? Like, you know what I mean?
You're right.
It's like,
so let me ask you this question. Like, all right, for scientists believe in this ever replicating concept of cells, right? It's just, there's no limit. And even mathematicians believe in, infinity. And so how would you, or how could you separate that from something just being, ever being? Because in a sense, that's infinity, right? Like, something can just be without having to be created. If numbers never run out, or if cells never stop replicating, I guess we're believing that the cells are making themselves.
And that's where you get a lot of people that are physicists, and by the way, theoretical physicists, right? So there's that element, that whole theoretical of what's theorized. What a scientist will usually do is they'll think just much like a religion would. Well, this could be the beginning of everything, right? We see a lot of the dead religions of the world have, the sun is the god or whatever, and then that gets replaced. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense, right? At some point. And what happens is more and more of those old religions get replaced with a better answer. And so physics and science will do the same thing too. They'll say, this is our theory. And then a lot of times they'll realize the theory didn't make a whole lot of sense because somebody comes up with something that disproves that. What I like better about science than I do about theology is that math and science never hold on once they're proved wrong. They never try to go, well, wait a minute. Like if the old world would have been like, God was standing on, an elephant holding the Atlas up, or whatever your belief was, right? In a lot of old religions, it'd be like, well, as soon as we know that's not the case, we're not clinging to it. We're just moved on because we don't care. It's like we just want truth. And that whole infinity thing. By the way, that was the name of my album too, and I've always been intrigued with it. Is like part of that undercurrent. It's like if you got, first of all, infinity is just an idea. Mathematicians don't necessarily believe. Most mathematicians don't believe that infinity is like an actual number. we do believe that infinities have different sizes. So, for instance, I could ask you guys, what's bigger? All of the numbers from 0 to positive infinity, or all the numbers from negative infinity to positive infinity, right? Like you could feel that it goes infinity in both directions, but clearly putting them both together is a bigger set of infinities, right? And then if I say, well, what if I add in all of the decimals, like 0.1? That can count too. That's another number, right? 0.12, 0.1234. I mean, we can make infinity amount of decimals too, you know, and so there's bigger sets of infinities. And Gregor Cantor studied that and drove the dude like kind of nutty. But it's like, it's just a concept because we know we can't really count forever. I mean, I'm a mathematician. I don't know the names of numbers after you get to like a trillion. I don't care what the numbers are. I know a few just to impress people, but I don't know what 1 followed by 37 zeros is called. I just, you know, 10 to the 37 is good for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't believe there's 10 to the infinity out there somewhere. You know what I mean? But
so it's like it's all concept. It's all that's all it is. So really consciousness really to me is the key, because awareness, which is what consciousness is the key to you being able to understand what's going on, whatever way you're going at it.
Right.
And you know, until you grasp that, you're not going to be able to really make any progress. If you're in a conversation with somebody and you're not able to listen, truly listen, you're not listening to that person, then you're never going to realize that you have way more in common than you have in differences.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And we're all the same. No, we don't. None of us know what we're doing. We're all trying to figure it out.
True. That's so true. That's it.
True.
That's it. We all try to figure it out, and come at it. A lot of people just come from the one. You might be a stonemason, and that's the way every metaphor you have is like, you stack one brick on top of the other, and it becomes our language, and then we try to figure it out the best we can and make metaphors for things that we don't understand. And
metaphors and analogies is all there is, because everything is based off of the human body. When you look at a vehicle, for example, it's based off of the way the human body works. When you look at a computer, it's based off the way the mind works. It's a mind. And somebody had to conceive the thought to create this microchip that just can microprocess things super fast and efficiently, where I might forget something. Nothing's ever gone. It might get deleted, but it's just in the trash. If I see my homie and he says, "Hey, you remember when this happened?" I say, "Damn, I forgot." You know what I'm saying? I remember that, and I'm able to pull that right back up. I'm able to pull all of the information is free. It's in the air. It's in the Akashic record. Anybody can pull it down.
Yep.
It's your access and your ability to be able to pull it down.
I thought that word was cachet, by the way, for so many years. You said that so smooth. The Kosh. Is that what you said? I was like, how you say that word? I don't know that word.
No,
you play too much, man.
I mean, for years, I was just like, what is that word? Like cachet, man. People be like, you don't have to cachet. But
but the records are there, and the energy is there for anybody to get. And that's where we miss each other, bro.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. What'll happen one day is there's gonna be scientists, and there's gonna be theologians agreeing on something once it gets discovered, and it's gonna be the thing that they're gonna say, "We've now discovered what it is that caused the Big Bang," and everyone's gonna go, "God," right? And the mathematicians are gonna go, "No, it was blah 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 blah," and people are gonna go, "Yeah, it's God," right? And it's like, well, what created the Big Bang? Would you not agree that something that created the start, if that is the start of the universe, whatever that thing is, right, that we don't necessarily know all the characteristics of, has a strong possibility that is what people mean by when they say God? You know what I'm saying? And and would you not also agree that if something was intelligent enough to cause a Big Bang, if we want to use intelligent as the right word, right? Let's say it wasn't just random chemicals that bumped into each other and caused a big explosion. I mean, it still begets the question where those chemicals come from, right? And it's like whatever that lingering thing is that caused that thing to happen, it's one more step back towards knowing the all elusive trait of, Yahweh, right? And like whatever the word is that people would use to say, what is that thing? But you're only one step closer in an infinite amount of steps of things you still don't know about. And so it's like, you kind of get to that when those singularities come up, when math agrees with theology, you have a lot of people upset. You know what I'm saying? And you have a lot of physicists fight back against that, because a lot of people do it with this. Here's the one thing you'll hear within physics. You hear the God particle, right? Which actually has nothing to do with God. It actually came because a physicist shouted out that goddamn particle. It was an elusive particle, and they called it the God particle. But what's funny about that is that's the Higgs boson, which was predicted to exist, right? From particle accelerators and this elusive particle that we knew mathematically had to exist, and it did. And they had to spend billions to create a large hadron collider and particle accelerator to actually make it happen in Switzerland and have some of the world's best scientists working on it. We spent millions and millions of dollars, billions really, to have that happen. And it's like, okay, now what, right? And it's like, okay, now we're going to do more research. And the funny part is that there's two levels of science, of two competing theories of origin about the universe. And one of them is basically the multiverse, i.e. very much in common with the Marvel version of the multiverse, which is very much parallel to what's happening in the Matrix, right? So it's what's interesting, and why you'll get a lot of science people involved, is because there's a whole theory from credible scientists. This isn't like wingnut scientists talking about the hologram principle of the universe. And there's another competing fraction of scientists who believe that is not what started the universe, but the math that's behind. And I'm not an expert on that branch of math, but it's what I study in my spare time, right? And so you can watch endless amounts of documentaries and read endless amounts of academic papers that are basically talking about, if the data that we got from when we smashed those particles together went this way, it would say multiverse. If it went this way, it would start Big Bang and just the normal inflation process of the universe that a lot of scientists believe.
Right.
And it's almost 50-50. The data that came out, it's almost dead in the middle. So you have a bunch of scientists going, the multiverse could be, and then all that Marvel stuff started to really shoot off when that data started coming back in right around 2010, when the Large Hadron Collider was doing a lot of its stuff. So what happened was you had a lot of people starting to spin off into these different ideas, and there's really Leonard Susskind is a preeminent theoretical physicist who believes in the origin of not the origin of the universe, believes in the hologram principle. So if you were to look up Leonard Susskind right now, he's one of the world's foremost theoretical physicists who believes that there's a holograph principle behind the universe, and that happens at the threshold of black holes. So you start thinking about that stuff.
I just want to know
what's causing that, right?
Exactly. And that's how I feel, man. The reason why these conversations, especially when had the right way, are so valuable to me is that, like, whatever it is that Yahweh, God, whatever you refer to it as, has out there, I just want to experience it, because I know
the architect,
right? Yeah, from in Matrix terminology, the great architect.
Yeah.
Because I know that the design to me, that the design of what we experience every day is very intelligent to be coincidental. Like, it's too intelligent.
That's absolutely.
It's too this is intentional in a lot of ways. Like the design, like you said, the way things function and operate, and how, in a lot of ways, without us messing it up as humans, how the earth kind of basically takes care of itself. And
the universe functions a lot like a computer.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
because it's consciousness. It's consciousness. It still goes back to the same thing. It all circles back. I've done so much reading, man. It's like, really the most important thing is know thyself. Because once you know yourself, then you know something. You actually have a grasp on something, because you don't have a grasp on anything else that's going on. This is going to operate with or without you. And so what capacity are you going to operate within it? So you got to be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's consciousness. That's what it circles back to. Always.
For any of our 12 people still watching, or our people that are watching in video, this is who I was speaking of. So if you're looking up Leonard Susskind, I just typed in Leonard Susskind hologram. And so the holographic principle is a property of quantum gravity theories which resolve the black hole information paradox within string theory, first proposed by Gerard Hooft. It was given a precise string theory interpretation by Leonard Susskind. So if you ever want to get into some really cool stuff, read or watch Leonard Susskind on the world as hologram. It's not exactly in the idea, the traditional sense of what we think of with hologram, but it's close enough that it's worth your attention. And that is one of the world's foremost theoretical physics. This isn't like some dude coming up and going, "I think the world's flat." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is like incredible scientists. I try to introduce my students to a lot of these concepts too, and try to mitigate those conversations too, and have like there's room for your opinion, because scientists don't know either, theologians don't know everything either, and so there's a lot of room in there.
A lot of room, man. It's because we need to talk, man. Like I was saying, we can't, and then it starts to violate, especially from a religious perspective, it starts to violate our own principles, man, when we just are deliberate about avoiding people. There's one thing about, especially if you're an ambassador and you feel like you're responsible.
I do avoid the Jehovah's when they come to the door with the fly.
I don't avoid them. No,
I used to bring them in. My dad would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I want to talk to them."
Oh man, I'm rolling back.
We talking like
you let them in. You tea and crumpets.
Look, if the Church of Latter-day Saints knock on my door, you coming in, and you're probably not gonna want to stay, but you not.
I was gonna say, are you converting them to your side of the pendulum, or what's happening?
I'm just having a conversation. See, what I usually do is kind of like similar to the platform we have right now. I don't really care what you believe. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna listen to what you're saying, and I'm just gonna ask a bunch of questions based on what the information that you provided me. And because because we care more about protecting what we believe than we do defending or seeking the truth.
Yeah,
that usually runs people off because they don't have an answer to the question. And
there's
so
a lot of non-answers. Yeah.
Right, because they don't have answers to the questions that I asked. That usually runs people off, like I said, because we care more about defending what we believe than we do about seeking the absolute truth.
That is more true right now than any point in human history. It's amazing. It doesn't matter.
We can be wrong. We can actually be wrong. Like
people will want to kill you over that. Like,
you know what I'm saying? I believe in the fact. I believe in you being able to prove me wrong. Like I say, all right, this is what it is, unless you can prove me wrong. But just be blatantly like, no, you're wrong and I'm right, without really like, I could be wrong. And so I just care more about absolute truth.
You all agree with these, right? We try to call these absolute, like 1 divided by 1's 1, right? If you have two anythings and you split it up into two pieces, basically it ends up 1. And then we test this. We say 1 times this 2 down here should equal what's on the top. That's kind of like a test. Like this 1 times this 2 equals 2. We like verify that, right? Just like if I had 4 divided by 2, we all know it's 2. And as a check, you can say, well, 2 times 2 does equal 4, right? What we have a huge problem with a lot of times when we're first getting math is we say, well, what is 0 divided by 1, right? What happens when you have nothing and you split it up one way? Well, if you have nothing and you split it up one way, you're going to end up with nothing, right? Because nothing times 1 is 0. Math hates when we do it the other way around, when we have 1 divided by 0. And you know what we do, Fly, when we have 1 divided by 0? We go, duh. and what we do in place of that is we do this. We actually put this symbol sometimes.
Yep.
Infinity. And this is, or a lot of times we just say it in words, we say undefined. And if it's a slope, if you test it with a slope, if you do rise over run, like the change in y over the change in x, right? And if you get this to happen, if you get 1, like if your 2 y variables subtracted, you have 1. The only way you're going to get 0 is if the x variables were the same. The only way you're going to get 0 is if these 2 numbers are the same, right? So you have to so that means if you're going to graph this thing out, and this, I promise this to be into the math, right? If you're graphing this stuff out, and there's my graph, and I have a slope that looks like this, that's a slope of 1. That's like 1 over 1. But a slope that's flat, like here's the line like this, that's supposed to be flat. That's a slope that's 0. It's a flat hill. It doesn't have any slope to it, right? That's a high slope. This is the vertical slope that has a slope of infinity, meaning it's as high as you can possibly be. It's like a straight line going up like that.
Right.
It's like it'd be like Spider-Man walking up the wall. He'd be like sticking to the wall. The only way you'd be able to do that is if you're Spider-Man. And you think about that, the only way that can happen is the x variable has to be the same. You're on the same place on the x-axis. You haven't moved over. So in other words, I'm either here or I'm here. I'm here. The x's stay the same. And I'm only saying all this stuff to say that we have a big problem in math when we have things like that we can't answer. And then we say, what does it actually mean when you have something divided by nothing? And we're just like, I don't even know. What does it mean to divide something by nothing? And this is where math breaks down, and it's where philosophy breaks down, and it gets into how can one come from none? You know, and it gets into the whole idea of what do we mean by axiomatic definitions of even 1 and 0? Like, how can you have nothing? How can you ever have truly nothing in the first place? Because remember what I said about infinity, it's just a concept. Like, and for me, that means, can you ever actually have nothing? And my answer would be no, that you don't ever truly have nothing. There's always something that you may not have been able to quantify. And so because of it, it's like infinity is just an idea. You don't actually get there, you know, and it's the limit, and limits help make calculus. You have to have a limit in calculus to be able to do the math. But it's like, it's the idea that allows us to get far away. We don't care that 1 divided by 0 drives us batty and crazy. We just care that it's created a limit for us, or a vertical asymptote, or whatever, that allows us to do calculus later. And then we can move on and see more about the picture that was too close in front of our face to understand until we can step back. And I think it's true about the universe. I think it's true about most things that we don't understand, you know, as opposed to, okay, I'm the one who's right, you're wrong, everything you think is stupid, you know what I mean?
Exactly. I can't stand that, man. I can't stand when we're that way. I believe we all have contributions. There's things about philosophy and physics and science, man, that I absolutely love. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things about, and for me, the reason why religion is the foremost for me is because of how it translates in human interaction. And it speaks a lot about principles and values that once used and applied and replicated come to fruition. And so just having an understanding of, like you said, all those concepts, physics, math, and I think they all play a significant part. And the human interaction part for me is where, you know, the actual, you know, religious part comes in for me. You know what I'm saying?
You know, this has been a very self-indulgent show with our quote here. I've been definitely showing a lot of pro stuff, and I'm tempted one more time because what you just said. So here we're gonna go one last time. It's not a song. It's a Professor Lyrical TED Talk here. Don't know if you guys have ever seen this.
I'm going to make a bold statement and say that doing a TEDx talk is going to be the most transformative and uplifting experience of your life.
Okay. Well, I'm glad he thinks that. I'm going to go to
mechanics. When I think of 25 of them at Northeastern, and I hustled into education. I started out as a teacher in my hometown of Lowell, Massachusetts, because they knew I was the local MC who could maybe grab the attention of the kids, and I was good at math. And so I started out as a high school math teacher, but my hustle was trying to get into higher education as well. So I started like most people, adjuncts, and lived that crazy adjunct world, and was literally going from place to place while working on my master's in mathematics at UMass Lowell. It was a hustle. I was emceeing, but I had the ear of the youth. I speak the truth. I don't want to get into it, but I had the ear of kids. And so I could say, look, math is cool. Science and technology and engineering and mathematics are just one pillar of truth. For me, they're the ones that resonate with me the most. When I think of quantum mechanics, when I think of nanotechnology, I think the closest that we have today is magic. Like, if you really understand what's going on at a quantum level, where particles act like waves, particles and consciousness can affect what's going on, I see people nodding their heads, so I'm preaching to the choir, literally. But
we're in a whole church.
These four pillars, like science, technology, engineering, mathematics, one path to get to the truth about the fundamentals of the universe that we don't fully understand. You can't even be in the discussion as a young kid if you don't have a basic framework. I mean, Woody was talking earlier about calculus. If a kid doesn't understand the basics of calculus, which I agree can be taught almost in a tutorial fashion, doesn't need to be an educator. It could be a computer. It can be a simulated book. If a kid doesn't have those fundamentals, that is the threshold that you cannot walk past to make sure that you're in the game where your discussion even matters. If you want to talk to somebody intelligently, artistically, talk about pedagogy, curriculum, or you want to do something that's important in education and you want to do it in STEM, you have to complete the calc sequence, right? We can watch this cool crap that goes on TV and in the movies and science fiction, but if you don't have a background in math, you're somewhat taken out of the conversation. So for me, sure, one of my pillars is math, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. but I'm just as interested in philosophy, like some of you were speaking about today. I equate it to some of the 4 pillars of hip hop. An MC is like a philosopher to me. At least we try to be. We try to impart and incorporate different vibes that we hear into the discussion, like I did earlier. And I was thankful you guys were participating. I'd be remiss if I didn't discuss spirituality in this room. Talking about theology, it's just another path of truth. It's trying to get to an understanding about the reality of where it is that we come from. Hip hop and hip hoppers are obsessed with that. B-boys and B-girls, it's like a ritual, which is part of the word spirituality if you look at it. It's like a ritual mastering your craft, but it's almost spiritual. It's almost a spiritual experience for B-boys and B-girls and for art in general. So we talk about the arts. Of course, the arts are another pillar of truth. The speaker before me was speaking about that as well. Arts, it's a reality of trying to get through the tacit dimension of the other side of what's in your brain that you can't express properly, but you can do with paint, or you can do with creative combinations of words and sounds, or whatever your medium is for art. So when I'm speaking to students, I'm trying to convey to them that it doesn't matter what your pillar is. Follow one of those as a discipline, like you might do as a student or a B-boy or a B-girl or a DJ or an MC or one of the people that follows one of the 4 pillars of hip-hop. It doesn't matter what your pillar is. It doesn't matter your path to try to get the truth. Let's not BS each other. We're here to hear truth. We're here to hear about things that really matter. To me, what really matters is in the sciences, in STEM, we have a lack of people who can do the job. You know, we have to hire from overseas to get qualified people to actually come in. Yet, and be in these, you know, when I graduated from UMass Lowell, I was one of very few from Lowell who graduated with a master's in mathematics. It wasn't cool. Math wasn't cool in the community I was from. If I wasn't lucky enough to get to move to Chelmsford, which was a suburb, to go to high school where math was cool, I wouldn't have to sneak my math skills in on the side. Most kids don't have that opportunity. It was cool for me to be like, flipping and ribbing and shovel, nobody has ever been able to keep the lyrical skill, like rhyming real fast. Or I'd sit in my room all day. When I'd be getting the rhythm, and then I'd be really beginning my rhyming and making a miracle out of material lyrics that never been able to find in the found and come out in the man on the physical, literal, come in the pinnacle, medical, mineral. Then I get into when no one has ever been able to go with the lyrical flow. Thanks. That was cool. They liked it too, you know? They didn't like 8 times 7 is 56. 56 times 3 is 168, whatever it is. You can give
Oh, in the response.
Yeah, but yeah, man.
I like that.
Them 4 pillars, man, is everybody has a different way of coming at it, and it's like when people try to invalidate one of those, you know, I mean, we all have our one. Like you said, you started it off the same way as me, but you just picked a different pillar. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And a lot of us, depending on
north, man.
Yeah, a lot of us, depending upon what our first orientation was, you know, that can usually end up being the last one too. You know, unless you come to discover, like, math was not the first thing for me, but for a lot of people, you know, you're born right into a family with a bunch of mathematicians and scientists. My son loves sci-fi, you know, so obviously, you know, but if you're not born around that, you might be, you know, kind of like what LD said. You know, I didn't start out with Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? No, it was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you both kind of.
Yeah, and I'm being offset by augmented reality too, man. Like, okay, if that's what you believe, then you know that's cool. Like, if I can believe that this all superior, all knowing, all being, you know, God appeared, then multiverse don't really sound that crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but we'd argue, like, from a religious standpoint, like, no, you crazy. Multiverse, like, nah, there's no way. But I mean,
it sounds
to me, the concept is just as, I mean, it's out there. I mean, the concept is out there, man. So it's like, man, like you said, man, we just got to really just be true to the truth. Really,
you gotta check out Star Wars, bro. You got to look at it because it'll open your head up some more. And that's always possible, because when you talk to this person today that was like, oh my gosh, you know, after the conversation, you're totally drained and you're trying to figure out what planet she came from, it'll give you an idea. I didn't mean to say she, but it'll give you an idea more on that concept. It'll open your head up to, like, what are some of these people thinking? Like, they're totally different than me. They are thinking they are not operating in the same reality as I am. They can't be.
But that happens right here on Earth. That happens right here on Earth, though.
What's crazy
That's
though,
what
is
I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. It happens in the movie at every interchange. And
what's crazy about
something, they look totally different. They operate totally different. It's
yeah. But there is something in common, which is interesting, is like, you know, and to get into the philosophy. And by the way, Fly, I did an entire presentation on the spiritual realm of a TEDx that I did at Howard, where I took the spiritual realm and brought it into STEM, which is a different one that I did. They had me do a rap for where I went to that pillar. But the interesting thing is that we can only create, when we say be creative, we can only use the senses that we have, right? Like there's only so many things that alien can look like, right? It's like it's gonna be blue, red, whatever colors you can come up with, right? Are only ones that you've experienced. You can't invent a color that you haven't really seen before. You almost wouldn't even know what it is if you didn't see it before. It's like a shape too. Like shapes are fundamentally made of lines and curves, right? And if it's not a line and curve, we don't even recognize it as a shape anymore. We start to think of it as some kind of thing or something. And like when we think about smell, right? Taste, you can only imagine, like you can't imagine a color you haven't seen. You can't imagine a smell you haven't smelled. You just can't, you know? And that's our obstacle that we have whenever we do this stuff. When we try to get metaphysical with stuff, it's still back to our frame of reference. So as cool as Star Wars is, it's still situated in this three-dimensional world, because all we understand right now are 3 dimensions, even though we know that there's more. Well, science would tell us that there's more. But what is the 4th dimension like? You know, and try to think.
Can you imagine?
No, you know, and then someone will give you a glimpse of maybe the idea, and you go, I never thought of it like that. But it's still built upon your understanding of the flat 2D world turning to 3D and 3D turning to 4. And it's crazy because it's like we're still limited. We're very limited for all we think we know. We're still very limited in how we.
And that's why we can't be closed-minded, man, because there's still a lot that we do not know. And at the end of the day, like that's why we have to stay open-minded, man, because it's still so much. And because we are finite beings, then we're gonna think with a finite mind. We're only gonna imagine what we can't imagine.
Unless you bring it back to symmetry.
Then symmetrically, asymmetrical.
Make some noise. Thank you. What's good? What's up, Howard? What's up, LaJoy Park? UDC in the building? All right, cool. Check it out. Fashion sold, it's old-fashioned, classic, modern day, Johann Sebastian.
A lot of spirituality in this one, Fly.
Hand woven in, finer strings than you find on a violin. Stradivarius, master artesian, hand-blown glass, my craft is pure genius. The multivariate flow for all seasons. Raps get tracked out and graphed on Cartesians. Singing at crucifix eyes to seek the truth of it. Differentiate your integrals down into root of it. Swearing it, cubing it, using it for all the truth of it. Choosing it, then refuting it with theorems that be proven it. News in the book of Chronicles, observing the astrological, come out of the mythological odds. It seems impossible. How can one come from none? Why do the moons revolve around the sun? Ecclesiastical, celestial spheres. I notice parallels at a glance. Nothing is by chance or mathematical. Travel lateral, look at the world and speaking in parables. Unravel words of God was born like it's magical. Shadow the mic, follow dramatical links. Eclipse the page like the moon when I flooded with ink. I'm thinking ideas it be prenatal in the cradle till marital prenuptial agreement supersede the supernatural. A poet, a teacher. Teaching a lesson to be heard. A pastor, a preacher, a poet, a teacher. What up, Henry? Yeah, that's my son. A pastor, a preacher, a poet, a teacher. Teaching a lesson to be heard. Make some noise, Howard. Check it out. Listen to the lyrics. Yeah. The flow so academia, hooded robe in regalia. The verses flooded. Mesopotamia, holder of diplomas and scrolls with gold frames in them. Lower on the left hand side with old names in them. Poems I'm arranging them. Paper is origami folded over into a pattern. Sequential is Fibonacci. Geometry, diameter, circumference divide. That's why shame on the slice like he's serving a pie. Another tangent. My plan is never to be cosine. Do the math and draw the parallels like equal sign. Speak your mind, please, before I throw down. Cause I ain't trying to mess around with these bozo clowns. My life symmetry, balance and flow, precise imagery. Master myself and my square divine ministry. Father resembles me, Mother Earth's telepathy. In harmony with all things, I bring forth the symphony. This ain't one of them club jams, this is more for the timpani. Orchestras in the mezzanine for the musicians having epiphanies. This is history, literally in the making. Choosing red in the blue pill, lyrical up in the matrix. These are true skills, still rooted in the basics. Charting the constellations, doing the manual calculations. Bestseller potential on instrumental arrangements, but probably never will be until I name one of Oprah's favorites. Make some noise. Howard's in the building. A pastor, a preacher, a poet, a teacher. Yeah, and that right there is from my man OC. If y'all ain't down with OC, check him out. He's old school, but he says a pastor, preacher, poet, a teacher, and my man Big Daddy Kane. Let me tell you about teaching class. I walk into class feeling no motivation when no one in math has discussed a vocation. Building a system with poor educations, like building a house with no floors or foundation, or pouring cement into a porous foundation, receiving support from the porous foundation. Look at the buildings that most have been placed in. It only makes sense that there's low expectation. Supposed to be sacred. These children we raising like taking an oath, not a goat, but escaping. So don't go and blame them and stop the complaining. Just look at this nation that we went and gave them. Went from Obama with hope so audacious to quotes from the Oval so overtly racist. Now in the home of the brave we less safe in. No wonder Wakanda's where most put their faith in. Yeah. My name is Professor Lyrical. I want to thank y'all for rocking with me tonight. I just wanted to put a little something together to respect lyricism, hip-hop, spirituality, STEM, the arts, philosophy, bringing it all together for transformation. And in the words of Big Daddy Kane, just teaching a lesson. The pastor, preacher, poet, a teacher, teaching a lesson to be heard. I'm living and reminiscing when nobody has ever been able to keep with the lyrical speed. Yes, indeed, lyrical got what you need. It's when I be getting the rhythm and then I be really beginning my rhyming and making a miracle out of material lyrics and never been able to find and find it, combining the meta, the physical, literal, coming the pinnacle, medical, mineral. Then I go into it, no one has ever been able to go with the lyrical flow. Peace out.
Was definitely the ProQuo promotional hour today. Much more on the pro. But yeah, man, I try to stay consistent with them 4 pillars, yo. So I muted you. Sorry, bro.
I know you know I'm used to it. You know, nothing to
no,
it.
it's. I was hearing that thing. I thought that was. Remember, I said I thought that was you typing. You still hear that in your ears? It's going. If you have headphones on, I can hear it, but it's not you guys. We get that every now and then when you have someone has a headphone on, maybe that's
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it's Bluetooth that does it or whatever. But anyways, thanks, Trina. Appreciate it. But yeah, man, 4 pillars, man. I'm staying with it. I got my Matrix line in there too. I see
you snuck it in, man.
Yeah, gotta do it.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. I'm looking forward to these tours, man. Just gonna tell you.
Absolutely. You can definitely see with the TED Talkish things how they can be, you know what I'm saying, meets a little bit more traditional hip hop, you know. TED Talks are a very particular kind of beast, you know what I mean? It's a very academic crowd, to say the least, at TED Talks. But they're reflective of what a lot of college symposiums are like. And if you mix that with hip hop, it's dope. If you can bring students into those, it's really dope. Yeah. What you got, LD?
Man, I'm just enjoying it. Just enjoying being on the show, man. Actually having my photo up. You know,
I mean, what this is still the people just don't know, man. It's really a luxury, man.
They have no idea. You know, there's gonna be someday LD's gonna be doing a show and he's gonna be like, let me go through a bunch of these videos of me talking on stage, and just like I'm doing of me rapping, I say, let me pull up this one when I was at blah 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 college or whatever. Yo, LD, I got one more for you. You ready? I got one more. I'm gonna put speaking of which, I'm gonna put a totally different dimension. All right, let's do a college show one. What it looks like at a typical college show, okay? And this particular college, I love this one because it's a special mission that they have. But anyways, check this out. This would be funny. Totally different vibe. This was a vibe where I toured the classrooms all day, met with the math department, and then did a function for all the students and all the faculty together in the middle of a snowstorm in a university in Vermont. All right, so check this out.
Vermont never even comes to my mind when I think about states.
See there you go. All right, ready? This is the same with most people. All right, check it out.
Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome tonight to tonight's speaker series. Where
This happens at like all of them. Is someone giving you some intro? It's sometimes it's a student.
So, my name is Jackson, and allow me to open up this evening with a little information, some background on our speaker here. So, this is Professor Lyrical. By day, he is actually a math and economics teacher from Northeastern University. And by night, he's actually an award-winning rap artist and MC. So he was born and raised in Lowell, Massachusetts, and from a pretty early age, go Mass, from a pretty early age, he discovered to appreciate the strength of an education. When his father got a degree in electrical engineering. He has taught actually over 100 courses at 8 different Boston area colleges, everything from economics classes to hip hop culture. He's a member of Mayor Menino of Boston's hip hop roundtable. So as a solo artist, as well as with his groups Excalibur and Invasion, they work to promote social change through hip hop. He works as an artist and educator to use the positive aspects of the hip-hop culture to try and promote people to self-advocate for socioeconomic change. He's competed in a number of rap battles and worked with a wide range of artists as a solo in his solo career, including being present during recordings with Jay-Z. Currently, he is promoting his new album, Put 'Em All to Shame, which has a corresponding book with each chapter is actually about one of the tracks. There's the book. This is actually the first album/book to ever be released in the world. And Put 'Em All to Shame was actually co-signed by Chuck D of Public Enemy and was a collaboration with DJ Shane. So let's give it up now and have a real good time with Professor Lyrical.
So flat is that joint.
One, two, yeah. Listen, I keep it supremely crafted, routinely mastered, rhyme schemes conceived in my dreams, my sleep's practice, 24/7, dedicated to rapping and still finding time in between for multitasking. The University, Massachusetts, my masters earn the same time making Massachusetts some classics, teach mathematics in university classes, music with my students, the fusion, fantastic. But don't confuse it to battle me, that's a fallacy. So I put the earth on a map in this rap galaxy. My mentality humble is what I have to be, cause even when they call me the best is 100 after me. 100 athlete, dumb to be humming happily when half is crappy, happy-go-lucky rappers are tragedies. 1 second I'm hot, the crowd clapping me. Second that I'm turning my back, they gon' clap on me. So don't grab on me after I walk past these rap shows. The answer is no, I'm not having it. It's not happening, don't know what you expect to see. When typically you'll find me perfecting vectors and matrices. Professor Lyrical, my material basically made to be poetic yet spoken more motivationally. So any vacancy, math, music, or otherwise, I'll graph you out my digits like perpendicular number lines. This is how it should be done. Vermont, make some noise, Landmark College. This is how it should be done. My style is identical to none. This is how it should be done. That's the hook. My style is identical to none. This is how it should be done. Check it out. Let me break it down to you. Now, who the most motivational, standing ovational, schooled how to handle the tool, vocational, mastering the manual, handle a demonstrational, able to train management, functionally operational. Now, just in case you were not aware of the repertoire, meet your butter messenger, legendary Excalibur, Lord of the lyrical, sword slicing material, just mastering the elements, hip hop's imperial, mental meditation. I travel through several layers, envision me cross-legged somewhere in the Himalayas. Even though my body is probably sitting in Cambridge, sipping coffee with some sloppy professors, acting all snobby. Look, nothing will stop me from skipping through archipelago, spitting some acapellas, visual arpeggio, freestyle material coming to me in vision. So I listen, grab a pen and convert them quick into written. This is how it should be done. Now, whoever makes the most noise, I think I have a CD for. Hey, yo, this is how it should be done. My style. One more time. Hey, yo, this is how it should be done. This style. Communication of ideas is quite literally our superpower. So these days, I find myself looking to my own writing and music for self-motivation. I tell newer rappers constantly to look outside of hip-hop culture for things that inspire you as well. Sometimes I'll reread a verse I've written, and one word or a brief concept will take me back to the knowledge quest I was on when originally writing the verse, especially if I'm also listening to the music. This motivates me to strive towards self-betterment while helping me churn out better work than I did before. It keeps me searching for truths I can use both in my music and mathematics classrooms. My point is that self-motivation does not mean I am only inspired by my own art. Rather, I'm inspired by my own quest for inspiration. The process of seeking invigorates me. This is hip-hop. Make some noise for hip-hop while we're at it. Yeah. True hip-hop culture. Multitasking. I use the word multitasking in this song. Some of you might have caught that. I was certainly talking about the need to do multiple things efficiently, but I was also referring to my own broad interest base I've acquired on a street level and in the classroom. Things that inspire me do not fit into neat packages, and I often get sidetracked by my own interests. Anybody know what that's like? Yeah. I typically will read something which will make me search for more. Let me digress to out of the book. Did you ever like open a window and before you know it, you have like 12 of them open, right? Because you found something and you're like, boom, let me go to the next thing. Boom, let me see where that takes me. It's like a scavenger hunt, right? And you don't even remember what the hell you were doing in the first place, right? It's probably a math class, right? You probably had SoundCloud up, you're on Professor Lyrical's page and what did he say? And now you're on Wikipedia. So, all right, let me get back. I will watch a news program or science show and go digging for more through the periodicals in the library. This will often allow me to connect seemingly disconnected ideas in ways I never thought of before. Granted, it makes me quite scattered in terms of my interest and taste, but I know what I like when I find it. As a kid, this looked a lot like ADD or ADHD. I certainly may have, or still have, one of those quote unquote disorders, but my mom wasn't looking to have me tested, and I was glad about this in a way. I find being overly focused on certain things or distracted is one of my best competitive advantages. It certainly is when I freestyle anyway. You'll get to hear me freestyle. You guys like freestyle? All right, you'll get to hear it in a minute. If that's okay, you want to hear some freestyle? All right. My own scattered attention and extra surplus of energy has been refocused through hip hop. This has helped to make me the kind of eclectic music I want to hear and be a deeper thinker. I advocate for social justice and fairness in a society that is often cruel and unforgiving. Hip hop is in itself a paradigm, which allows me to think critically and compassionately. I find great reward in the fact that my music and lyrical topics may in turn help to motivate others. I know this isn't always the case, like for some of you right now. But when I keep my lyrics and my music truthful and honest, this seems to occur more often than not. This song and this chapter reflects that scattered interest base. In one line of the song, I'm talking about Cambridge, Massachusetts, and in the next line, the Himalayas, only to be immediately followed up by talking about skipping through archipelagos. My imagination and sources of inspiration are allowed to run free when I write and record. While I'm not a clinical expert, I certainly would advocate for any child with similar symptoms to be allowed to discover the therapeutic world of creative writing and poetry
is practiced through the lenses of hip hop culture. I wanted to share that. Anybody relate to that out there? Yeah. All right, let me give you some full disclosure. So, and we'll get into some stuff. And by the way, I got a chance to speak in Leslie's class, and it was great. And I got to speak to some poets and stuff. So I kind of feel inspired to sort of come off script. As you can see, I kind of have a script behind me, a sort of little PowerPoint there, and things I typically like to talk to. But just kind of getting the vibe already today on the campus of what's going on, what you guys are about, what you may or may not be into. I wouldn't mind to change that up just a little bit if it's okay with you. And we can keep this kind of an open discussion. I know sometimes it's like, oh, there's a guy on the stage, right? Let alone a professor, right? It's like participation in class all over again, right? But I would welcome your participation. In fact, I know some of you may like to blurt out things and put them right out there. I don't really mind as well as you can get me back to where I was because I'm pretty distractible too, but we can keep it a two-way communication if that's okay. Is that all right with everybody? All right, so while I'm talking, one thing about class participation, imagine this is my class. Since we're gonna do some freestyle, I figured somebody in here might wanna come up and use the dry erase board and put some words on here that maybe I don't get to see, and then I freestyle about them later. All right, I don't know if anybody wants to do that, but the stage is your classroom, it is open. The board is right there. We can kind of keep that over there and then I'll freestyle them. You can come up one at a time or later. There's 3 markers up there, feel free. Sure, come right up. It's an open booth, all right? And I'll just be talking, so don't mind me. I'm just the guy here. Don't mind me. I will.
I got that hat right here, so I gotta switch out.
So, in full disclosure, in addition to the ADD and the ADHD that I've never been clinically tested for, that is very apparent in my life, I'm very scattered. I mean 100% sincerity that I think it's my best competitive advantage when freestyling and just making things up off the spot, right? Like freestyle, because I'm so distracted that I've used it to incorporate into something that works for me, which is freestyling. So a little background on myself. Before I was an educator, I shouldn't be looking. Before I was an educator, I was an MC first. And so what you see up here is sort of accumulation of both of those careers put together. So I've been teaching, I taught high school, I taught college, and I teach at the university level. So my path, which I would like to kind of find out from you guys maybe tonight if we get some time, is like, what's your path and what's your plan as well? So for me, this is what I did. I did a bachelor's degree in business with economics and marketing as the concentration. Then I did a master's in mathematics, and I just finished my doctoral program. All right. So that was, thank you. So that was my path, but I didn't know much about academia. I didn't know exactly how the rules work. And so I've kind of taken my own path to find out. I didn't have anybody walk me through necessarily. So we'll talk for you guys later, like what some of your path is. And the rest of my full disclosure goes like this. I'm OCD. Make some noise for OCD, right? Often can distract. No, no. My OCD manifests itself this way. My wife, I've been married now to a beautiful wife this year. Her name is Love Jones. We have a beautiful child, Henry. He's 2 years old. Thank you. My wife is not OCD. My wife, I drive her a bit crazy. I organize my closet by color. All my shirts are organized by color. My pants are organized by color. But that alone doesn't tell half the story. Things that I really care about are really, really, really neat. Some things are not, because I have so much going on that I just don't have the time to put things in the way that I want them. But maybe you can relate to this. It irritates me to no end, and I want to wake up in the middle of the night to go fix it. All right, so I want to wake up and fold the sheets. All right, my wife wants me to go to bed. All right, I want to wake up and fold the sheets. She wants me to go to bed. It's an argument. It ensues. I have to work around it. That's how it manifests for me. It's not too bad. I can deal with it. But what it has made me is it's made me meticulous in my writing process, meaning that I never think I'm done with a song. I never feel that I'm done. I feel it can be better. In other words, I feel the sheets can be folded more, all right? So what I want to give to you guys later on tonight is a couple verses that just kind of talk about the process of self-betterment, like making yourself the best possible whatever it is that you do. So if it's a lyricist, making yourself the best possible rapper that you could be. Making yourself the best possible poet. If it's a mathematician, making yourself the best possible mathematician. And that process for me came through hip hop. How many of you guys are actual fans of hip hop music? Make some noise. It's hip hop. All right. I need some shout outs, or maybe hand if it's gonna get too shouty outy. Who would be an artist that we would appreciate in terms of hip hop? Eminem. All right, who do we got? Who? Nas? Biggie, MGK? NWA? Who we got? Ice Cube? Is that what you said? It was hard to hear. He said NWA when you said Ice Cube. Who? Kendrick Lamar. Jay-Z. Wiz Khalifa. J. Cole. T.I. Drake. Who? Professor Lyrical. I mean, I was insulted until you said that. Beastie Boys. Don't be being funny. Snoop Dogg, Asher Roth. You did college? Oh, I thought you said Asher Roth.
He said Asheru from the Boondocks, who I later met out here in DC.
I hope the faculty and staff here can appreciate how much the student body appreciates hip hop, right? It kind of is, for me, it's that thing that kind of cuts across all kinds of social paradigms, races, sexes, colors, creeds, languages, nations. And hip hop has been like one of those only things. I'll talk a little bit about hip hop before we're done here tonight, but I know you guys probably are ready to see a freestyle, right? Pretty soon? All right. So we'll see what we have here. And can you guys, before I look, can you tell me, can you read the penmanship? Can you read what they're writing? Not everybody's an educator, so not everybody's writing big enough to read, right? But that's okay. We'll try to do it. You know, a lot of times as faculty, we want to get people up to the board, right? Have you guys volunteered and got up to the board? We're dying for you to come up to the board. We're dying for you to come up the stage, right? But a lot of times you stand in front of the equation. It's just like, you got to do this. You know, the faculty knows what I mean. You know, you better doors than windows. All right, so I'm going to play. Now, I won't play a beat. I'm going to go over here and do a little freestyle with whatever they have. I hope you can see it because it adds to the effect. I just got this really cool pen. Some of your teachers probably have. These called, maybe they do it, I should say, professors, Live Scribe.
The unofficial
you can write,
sponsor.
you see it up on there and you send yourself. Yeah, really cool, but I didn't want to go through the hassle of looking it all. It's kind of like show and tell. Look, I have Live Scribe. All right, so check it out. ProfessorLyrical.com, @Prof Lyrical's my Twitter. I will respond to you guys. It's me. It's not like somebody else doing it. Like, I'm not that big. Like, I gotta have my hordes of assistants like answering my my SoundCloud request or anything like that. All right, so it's me. Just definitely hit me up. Lyrical @ProfessorLyrical.com if you have questions you feel more comfortable asking later. So I'm gonna kick you a freestyle. I hope you can see it. If not, we'll talk about it after, and we'll see what I can do. Hopefully, I don't suck. All right. Hopefully. Ready? I'm gonna attempt to go maybe to a beat like. Something like that. That's kind of what's in the back of my head, but I might not do it. He's holding his ears. All right. Something like that. All right, ready? Here we go. I look at words, I can't even read the writing, but I see the stereotyping. And I'm fast as lightning, even though it was in red and underneath it was green, it was making me kind of think like it was a stoplight scene. But then I saw blue in the middle. That was kind of a weird riddle, because usually you'd see yellow. Y-E to the LL like Cool J-O-W. Trouble you? Bring when you drink the A and W? No, I think not. That's root beer, so you cheer for me when I turn around here. Passion is power. This is the hour for people that take action and not a suggestion. I am manifesting off the stage something off the top of my best friend. That's my head with the hat turned on backwards, never backwards, so I turn around to see more. It makes us who we are every hour. Every hour, I don't know what time it is. It's probably 7, but if we add 2, that's 9. And then I can take 9 and multiply by 5 and have 45 reasons MCs won't survive. That had to be freestyle or else it wasn't in my mind. I don't mind if there's a few seats missing, but if there's like 100 missing, then I'm going to be real pissed. I would come back to you and say, somebody didn't listen about the promotion. Let me stand over to the side and swim like a shark with the dorsal fin. Lyrical be that person, if even a morsel fin, I will come from a crumb and show the MCs that they are not better than what I have done when the tongue is connected to the lung. It's still only 21. Lying. It's like, turn around to the ward and see the catalyst. It's the rap person without rehearsing. Pay no attention because it's showtime. I know my flow time is ready to go. I'm so over the edge of the stage stage when I'm standing there. You need the tribulation for me when I'm rocking the jubilation. My group's really name was Invasion. I don't know what this says, but it looks like solipsism. But you know that I can't really spell it because I have some ism, and I don't even know how to pronounce it. But I'm not even counted. But I know that the Broncos' victory was kind of quasi-victory. See, I wasn't really feeling it because I'm down for the Brady, the 1 to the 2, and you should have brought your lady to cheer louder than you're doing right now, because you ain't likely to see a freestyling person address the crowd. Now, I need it a little bit more louder so I can maybe give out another CD if it's thicker than clam chowder. That's better. Getting kind of hot inside of my gray and black sweater. Thank you. Okay, you made your point. Let me go back to the board and start to see if I can anoint asynchronous flow, or you can even make it synchronous though. Then it will go together unlike it didn't when we were playing tic-tac-toe. As a matter of fact, I could probably play tic-tac-toe on the board, but I get really bored because there's no way that two people can play and actually score if they know what they're doing, because it should always be a tie. Nobody can ever come out with a win. Why? I just proved it. How could you possibly lose in a game that's based on 2-on-2? Ish. Didn't want to swear. Didn't care, didn't have to. I think this is dank memes, but I'm not really sure because it seems that the spelling could be off. Maybe I just don't know what it is because I'm thinking too fast and I have to. I really didn't though. Just made you think that I did because that was my idiot flow. Let's go back to the tribulation just in case you didn't know. That's N-O backwards with the I-T. No, it's not it. It is just me, the MC. A-L-U-B, like an ambulance, kind of spelled backwards, like I was dyslexic, like I'm suspecting that some of the people in the crowd right now are in this section or in that section. Pay no attention to the man on the stage ripping behind the curtain. I think that was in The Wizard of Oz. No, I'm certain. That's what he said, right? I see you bobbing your head. He said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Flipping every minute, showing nobody has ever been able to do what I'm doing. I am certain that actually was a freestyle without rehearsing. Because I sat in my room for like hours and hours and hours and end trying to figure out how my tongues went together with letters like T, L, and N. And I realized when I went, lyrical speed, yes indeed, lyrical do, but what you need, it worked. Peace. Thank you. I forgot Imagine. I suck. I forgot Imagine. Oh. A nice what your talent is into something that is actually beneficial for you. And the beneficial doesn't have to be money, right? So for me, what I've started doing, and I had nobody to tell me this, but when I was in college as an undergrad, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew I was pretty good with numbers, right? And I knew that I wanted to play around with numbers somehow in a fun way, and I wanted it to help my MC career because I was already rapping and I already had records out. So I wanted to like figure out a career that would work for me, but I knew I wanted to teach. But I thought my friends thought it was like ridiculous. Because like, I don't even know the difference of seen and saw in a sentence. No, I'm serious. Like my mom, if she called me right now on the stage, she'd go, I seen it. And I'm not making fun of my mom. That's how she speaks, right? That's how she speaks. I seen it. It's I saw it, Mom. And I didn't know that until like 2 years ago. Not really exaggerating by too much, right? And I still code switch. You guys know what that means? I go back and forth between who I'm with. Thank you. So code switching is like, if you talk to your baby, right? Or my baby, well, don't talk to my baby. But when I'm talking to my baby, right? When I'm talking to my baby, I go, oh, Henry, how you doing, baby? How you doing? I would never talk like that to you, right? That would be a little awkward, right? Right. So the code switching is using the lingo, the diction, the slang of whatever group that fits, right? When I'm talking to, I got the honor to meet the president today. We kind of, he's kind of cool. He gave me a little hip hop that kind of thing. And like, it might surprise some of you, but he has a little swag going. And so I speak to him maybe differently than I'll speak to my son, but not so dramatically different that it's confusing, so that when my son hears me speaking, I sound like a different person, right? I think of it like this. Oh, here I go. The math twinge is coming on. Hold on. You know what I didn't ask for? I didn't ask for an eraser. So we'll call it mute. Right? Actually try to be proud about. One of them I'm going to show you is the put it all together. Cursing, non-repetitive, fairness and equity. That's what a fake side of issues that are prevalent in hip hop. If you for me, this was the process. Music, that's way more lucrative You know, than you see people on these speaking tours and all that kind of stuff. There's way more money than that. Like, look at what Hillary Clinton makes to speak, right? You guys know what she makes? Say it again. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's six figures. You know, that's where the money's at. You know, use your platform to turn it into something else, because the people in the music industry aren't trying to give away free money. So, good question. Again, email me more on that too. We can talk about it. Yeah. Grammys, because everyone thought they were rich. And there's endless stories of this. I'd see people driving away and, you know, not afford cab money. They're gold records and stuff like that. I was like, what? At a young age. So I knew I didn't want a big record deal. I knew I wanted a deal that would give you like creative control and to do all these things where you can make your music and still have a say, because I knew there was no money in it. I knew it was just all about getting a platform. And so it was all, for me, it's always been about the platform. I never thought there was like big money in hip hop, like a lot of the people were telling me. It is a lot. The real money in entertainment is in movies. That's where the real money is. There is money in the movies, but it's really hard to break into that too. Yes, there are like 10 people that are paid in hip hop and are multimillionaires, but most of them are nowhere near what you think they are. And I speak about this directly in terms of a lot of the finance and mathematics in the book. I teach it in class. We do endless examples of rappers who were once famous who are now broke. It just, the list goes on and on and on. It's depressing, but it's true. But there is a way to make money in it. It's to be underground, be signed. Europe pays more to go do a hip hop show than any club in like America that holds 500 people. You go to a club in Europe that holds 500 people, and you come away with like, you know, 10 grand US money. And you do a club here, I'm lucky if I get like, you know, $500 at a club that holds people. And you, by the way, speaking and talking and doing all that kind of stuff, that's way more lucrative, you know, than you see people on these speaking tours and all that kind of stuff. There's way more money than that. Like, look at what Hillary. Artists that come through. Jay-Z is signed to his deal is basically a deal through Live Nation, you know, live rock and all that kind of stuff. It's a partnership deal, and these deals that are 360 deals take all of his money for all that time. Everything Jay-Z is worth goes into one of those kind of deals, those 360 deals, and the name implies what it is. He has no chance of making any other money outside of the 360 deal, even Jay-Z. Even the sports management and entertainment stuff, whatever Jay-Z does, or so I've been told lately, inside of that 360 deal is not his at the percentage that it should be. It's part of the 360 deal. And that's what Clear Nation does. Clear Nation is Clear Channel and Live Nation, or Fear Channel, as we call it, Clear Channel. And so it's just worth knowing that that's what's going on out there, to make you hear one image. Nobody's rebelling. Nobody's talking about police brutality in hip hop. Why would hip hop not be talking about police brutality, right? It's because they are, but they're underground, unsigned artists that are speaking to crowds of 350 as opposed to 35,000. Right? 35,000. You may have J. Cole mention a line about it. I give respect to J. Cole. He might say something about it. You may have Kendrick Lamar say something now and then, but they're still, for the most part, controlled puppets because they're on major labels. There's only so much they can say. Don't say that. That won't sell. The truth is ugly, and the truth is ugly in a lot of inner cities where, you know, the school to prison pipeline is active. You know, the school to prison pipeline is active. The prison industrial complex is an active reality. Hopefully you never have to see it or experience it, but it's very real, and our hip hop artists need to be talking about it more, in my opinion. One line about that, and I'll give it to you in rhyme form. For years, hip hop's been lost in stagnicity, crossover pop that lost authenticity. Eventually, grade school rap so elementary mirrors our educational institutions identically. Eric B. and Rakim now whistle the different melodies of force, now divorced like KRS and Miss Melody. Now Clear Channel and Viacom owns everything. Reality is MTV, check your scheduling. We all obsessed with the private lives of celebrities, privatizing everything, bastardizing the 70s, get advertising executives living in luxury, irresponsibly sponsoring products of death and poverty. I know probably people think the majority of what we choose is free will, but not in no monopoly. Those with seniority can manipulate minorities by views that they choose on the news spewed dishonestly. We lost authority. Hip hop's now morally challenged. We trade our talents for small salaries always. Similar businesses using viewers and listeners, systematical slavery, institutional prisoners, converting us like idiots. Most of us act like children, bragging about what we're selling inside of our own buildings and acting like building is totally out the question. Too busy acting like we'd be grossing millions, no question. Here's my suggestion that some of may sound blasphemous. We need more activists, rappers who rap passionate. See, I ain't bashing another rapper like Fabulous, just simply saying some of us need to spell it more accurate. With more confidence, mathematics like calculus, more Congress, law, and politics, interest in the establishment. reestablishing what we gained from our guardians and passing it on down and reacquainting the audience. Come on, that's the last song on my album. I'm good if y'all are. If you got more questions, I'm good.
Oh, that was fun. But that was me just reminiscing on that show. But I think a lot of shows can definitely be like that, where they're like part informational. You know what I mean? We bring the information and don't just entertain, but infotain. And I love doing them like that. Even though that one was definitely a little bit more improv after I got the vibe of the campus. But yo, sorry, Fly, I had you muted. What'd you say?
That freestyle was crazy.
Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
That was crazy.
Appreciate it. I was really just showing that to LD because we've been talking so much about these different configurations of shows and stuff. You know what I mean? Different ideas and stuff. And imagine that with a panel of all of us talking. You know what I'm saying? That's that's what we got to really be doing. You know,
I got it, brother.
I fast forwarded past a lot of the industry part. But what?
Yeah, most definitely. I can definitely see the vision. I can appreciate that 100%. So that's what it is. Before I forget, I just want to shout out, man, if I can, shout out my boy Jay Cruz, man.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Jay
sir.
Cruz.
I just want to do that.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully he's sleeping by now. I was supposed to be too, man. I was like, yo. But there's a method to the madness.
For sure, man. It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
as always.
Absolutely. Yo, I'm gonna hit end to everybody. If you guys can hang out for like 1 extra minute, I'll talk to you after I hit end on this. So we'll be hiding behind the scenes, but just stay right there. I'm gonna hit end. Peace, everybody. Check us out next week. I think we got a gentleman coming through next week who's does some amazing stuff. I don't want to put his name out there in case it's not happening, but he does a lot with spoken word and activism as well, and we're gonna talk more about that. And we have a bunch of people coming up that we're trying to organize right now who are coming through. So stay tuned. We'll post more about who those folks are. But I'm excited about a lot of people that I know we are coming through. So yeah, peace, fam, Epi. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Tree. Thanks for rocking with us. And we is good. Peace.